Chronicles of Yarnia, the podcast from Montclair's local yarn store. I am Jen.
Amanda.
Kathleen.
And we're the team behind Yarnia and the podcast and all kinds of fun things. This is a podcast all about knitting, crocheting, things you can do with yarn, various different things. We'll see what we touch on today.
Yeah.
And we digress a lot. So,
welcome.
We do. And if you are a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome
back. Can we pull the table towards us a little bit? I'm trying to write and I
Sorry.
Yeah. There we go.
Rearrange. I had to shove it forward because I have a giant bag of stuff, yarn.
I'm a little discombobulated this morning. I'm usually up till quite late, but I was up and assisting people with things very early
so you were
last night. So I'm
up and functioning is different than up and alone
finishing
time.
the last 5 rows on my hat is one thing, but
yeah.
Advising people on whether to drive to the Jersey Shore in the middle of the night is another.
That's an entirely separate.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress.
Yeah.
Already.
There we go.
I was not up late last night, but I didn't go to the gym this morning, so my brain is tired.
But you're well into your day. I'm barely into my day.
Well, although I did I try to get into my day then, but today I just came home and vegged and sort of fell asleep again.
There's some times where you kind of need to, especially if you go early in the morning. You're on Mondays I go early for me, 7. Which I feel like
that counts as early.
That's early.
Definitely early for me.
I come back and
to be out of the house.
You're tired, right?
Yes.
You want to take a nap.
Oh my god! And then I have to drive all the way to school. Yeah. And
yeah.
then I'm useless for a chunk of the day.
Well,
so
it used to work out nicely when I worked in the city because I would go to the gym then I go at 6 in the morning. Then I used to go at 5:30. Yeah, I used to go home. I used to go at 5:30, 5:15. Finished at 6. And then on the way back, texted everybody to wake up, do you want a Starbucks? Picked up Starbucks times 4.
It's a good way to wake up.
Right? For all the big girls going to high school and middle school. Came back to the house, took my shower, and then got the little kids up to go to school. Right? Got them all up to school and got on the train. Slept all the way to Penn Station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every single morning. And I am
built-in nap.
So programmed to as soon as the train starts, I'm
that's what I did when Haley was little. Yeah, because she didn't sleep through the night till she was 2.5.
Yeah.
I would get on the train in the morning and I would immediately go to sleep.
You immediately go to sleep, and it gets to a point where every time you're on a train and it starts moving, you feel tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're so conditioned.
Well, yeah, or I would knit or do email on the way home.
Yeah.
Those are the only things that kept me
I would
awake.
sleep on the way home. I would do both.
Oh, if I slept on the way home, I'd be useless for the rest of the evening. I'm not a good napper to begin with, and the later in the day it is. Yeah. Jean and Haley are both really good nappers.
I've got to be out for. I have to say, I think train naps are different for me.
Yeah, they're a special category.
Right, they're a special category. But otherwise I need to be asleep for 3 hours, 3 to 6 hours, or I am. I wake up mad.
That's one of the reasons I'm not a good napper.
You're an angry toddler.
I am an angry. Oh my gosh, my mom somewhere, and we have to digitize it. There is a video of me, not video. It's a whatever millimeter film.
Yeah.
Of me as a pre-verbal toddler. So it had to be year and a half.
Yeah.
2. Right, waking up from a nap and giving the dirtiest look. The dirtiest look to my dad who's behind the camera, and I'm just on my mom's shoulder, and she's like, it's okay, and I'm like, it's not okay, I want to be asleep. Right, exactly. And my mom was like, man, you had a good dirty look. I'm like, I still do.
Yeah.
She was like, you just woke up pissed off. And I'm like, yeah.
I do miss those train naps. It does provide a good break in your day.
It does.
The commute's not always bad. I hate driving. I can't drive and commute.
Well, it's funny. I was going to say I've never done a driving commute. Only since we've had Yarnia have I done a driving commute. But it is a 3-minute driving commute.
It's a little different.
So it doesn't count really.
I used to drive 45 minutes out to White House Station, which is beyond 287 in New Jersey.
Thank you.
25 miles from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I put 30,000 miles on my car in 1 year.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Jean has almost always done a driving commute, and he lived in LA for a while.
Yeah.
I think he kind of got used to it then. But he'd be getting in the car, and I'd be heading to the train. I'd be very happy it was him and not me.
But
not my
I will
favorite
say, I do know all the lyrics of every top 40 hit from like 2005 to
because you got to hear them, right?
You just listening to the
all
radio.
that, you know, Rihanna Umbrella.
Uh-huh.
I can karaoke that all day long. Every word.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law is she has no problem driving. She would drive, like, she has no problem with the driving commute. She's great with the train commute too, but like, she's always had some form of drive, whether it's like drive to the train station, like half an hour to the train station and then get on the train because they live out in New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm like, I just could never do, I'm like, train all the way. Cause I don't want to, I don't want to actively think.
Yeah.
I want to just kind of veg out and like.
Yeah. Both of my houses in Montclair were very easy walk to the train. And like, that was my, you know, that was my kind of drink my coffee, really wake up and then.
Yeah. A leisurely walk to the train or even a normal, like, brisk walk to the train.
Power walk to the train.
When you're late, your panic
running
sprint is awful. I hate the panic sprint at the end of the day to get to the platform and jump on the train.
Well, there is always another one in 20 minutes or so. Well, a half hour.
No, the worst was when I was breastfeeding and pumping.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, and if I missed the train, I was like,
you're gonna explode.
I'm gonna die.
I'm going to explode. The baby's gonna be pissed. And that's why we ended up having a nanny because, like, you can't miss pickup for daycare.
No, you can't.
And the daycares don't stay open past 6.
Or they start charging you $50 a minute.
$50 a minute. Right. So I was like, thank God those days are, and like, yeah, like the panicked rush, that's the one thing from commuting that I
hate that.
It was the
it's
biggest.
the most miserable feeling.
It was the biggest relief to not have the panicked rush.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just that.
Yeah,
every
that's
day.
what I always told, like, my Southerner friends. They're like, people in New York are rude. I'm like, no. They're rushing
They're
to get
just
a train.
in a hurry.
They have to catch their train.
The train leaves whether you're on it or not.
Yeah.
And it's like...
It's not that they don't want to answer your question. It's that they can't.
Yeah, they're on a schedule.
If they have time,
they
will 100% answer your question and 100%... like rope in everybody around to tell you the best way to get to the 1-9 stop on Houston Street.
Yes.
Right? And be like, no, don't go that way. What are you going to do? Why are you sending her there? You shouldn't send her there. Send her this way. And by the way, go get the bagel from that guy. He's the nicest.
That's right.
Right?
That's
I
what
miss
will
the
happen
alleys.
if you happen to find somebody who's not in a rush.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But usually your options are a tourist who's not going to give you right answers anyway.
Yes.
Or somebody who's in a rush.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the reason people don't make eye contact is because they're in a rush. They're trying to get where they're going.
Yes.
And also, tourists, for the love of God, don't stop in the middle of the sidewalk and look up. Move to a side. One side or the other.
Pick a side.
Someone will run you over on the sidewalk and look.
Not intentionally.
Give you my dirty look.
Yeah.
Not because they're mean, but because you're in the way.
Oh, this is good because Vogue Knitting has come up.
Oh,
so
yes.
good New York
Advice
meetups.
for Vogue Knitter.
Also, if you're going under scaffolding and it's raining, put your umbrella down.
Yes, otherwise you will get stuck.
100%.
And
Or
you'll
you're
have
just
everyone
like,
behind
you're
you.
people on the head.
Just put your umbrella down. You don't need it. You're under scaffolding.
Yeah.
And the scaffolding will protect you. It's good.
All these tips.
In the winter, if it's coldish, if it's snowed recently, it looks like pavement. It's a puddle.
Yeah.
Or ice.
That's true.
Don't step in it. Step over it. You
Yeah.
think that this was my biggest advice to a former coworker who moved up from Louisiana and went to school in California, and we were like, Angel, your first winter in New York, it's not pavement, it's a puddle.
Yeah.
And she came back one day from like getting lunch, and she was like, oh my God, you were so right. I'm like, I know.
And now her toes are soaked.
Now you're completely soaked, and like if you were wearing pants, your pant legs are soaked. And also in the winter, knee-high boots and a skirt is much better than pants.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. You don't get your cuffs all gross.
I'd also do leg warmers.
Yeah.
You can wear like sneakers with leg warmers and a skirt.
Passing on the knowledge.
I was a big leg warmer wearer. Even in like the early 2000s when that was not a vibe, I was rocking the leg warmers.
There's a reason why in Working Girl you see all of the ladies wearing their sneakers with their little like 80s power suits, because you gotta go for
Commuter
comfort
shoes.
first.
Commuter shoes.
Yeah.
And I had like 10 when I left Penguin. I had like 10 to 12 pairs of shoes under my desk that I had to clear out. And I was like, oh, this is where this one went.
Yeah.
All of my cute shoes were under my desk.
One of my two file drawers was all shoes.
Yeah. One of my file drawers was shoes. But I didn't have that many. I had my black, navy, beige, and brown.
I had neutral peep toes. I had black peep toes. I had black heels. I had neutral heels. I had black flats, and I had metallic flats.
I used to
and
have
I had more than that.
such a collection. When my first job out of college, I worked in the Wall Street area, and there were a couple of really great shoe stores near there.
Ooh.
And most of my young colleagues were saving up to buy cars or, down payment on a condo or whatever. I was so obsessed with shoes, I bought a pair of shoes every week.
Oh my gosh.
So I had, 100 pairs of shoes, and I mean, I had some to begin with, but...
Century 21 is down there.
Yeah. Oh, actually, the original Century 21 is right near where I grew up in Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's the...
Did they close, or
if you come to New York, check out Century 21.
No one in my family lives
I
there
just
anymore.
passed it.
Oh, okay,
I
good.
just passed it downtown. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the one near Wall Street, like right across.
Yeah,
from,
it's right by World Trade.
Yeah, right by World Trade Center. What was
I will
doing down
also
there?
tell you, if you're going down to Soho, the Old Navy there is the same as the Old Navy in your mall.
That's right, yeah.
It's not a special Old Navy.
Same with Uggs.
Sorry.
With
the Uniqlo. It's the same. If you don't have a Uniqlo in your mall, that's fine. Then the Uniqlo is unique. But H&M, Uniqlo, Old Navy, they're all the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just
bigger.
more expensive in Soho.
Yeah,
and also stay to the side.
I will say,
It really
though,
is like
in Soho, if you're looking for, like, upscale
Yes.
European brands, they have sales there that are spectacular.
Yes.
But they don't say it. They will never have a sign in their window.
Nope.
Just go downstairs. Like, there's a Prada down there that I used to live around the corner. Oh, my goodness, the sales that were there.
You got good stuff there.
Oh, yes.
That's where we
yes.
would go shopping on lunch hour because I was downtown.
Now I just buy secondhand. Like, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a designer, but it's all secondhand. The real.
Yeah.
The real and Poshmark. All right, we should.
We
are digressing.
I was
now.
just thinking the same.
We're digressing.
Do you
but I
have
will
any
say,
click around town stuff?
Of course, because we just bought our tickets yesterday.
Yay!
Yes, Montclair Film.
Montclair Film Festival is coming, and the tickets are up. Is it now just members that can get them?
I think it's just members for the first
week.
Yeah. So
well, by the time this comes out, you may be able to get tickets.
Yeah,
it may be public.
Definitely sign up for their newsletter so you know exactly when those
Mm-hmm.
are. But the Montclair Film Festival runs the 20th through the 29th. So even if you're going to Rhinebeck,
you still have time afterwards. Yeah.
Yes. You still have some time. We got tickets to the Fun for All Ages shorts.
Oh, the shorts festival.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the kids because they've got one collection that's all really cute shorts that are good for all ages. So we're taking that, and then my partner and I are seeing a show, and he loves film, so he's got like 5 other ones he's seeing.
They do a great program. And are they having the party, the fundraiser party as well? I can't remember what it's called. That's always fun.
And I think opening night is really, like the film for opening night is really great. But A, I'm in Rhinebeck, and B, it's
it's the same. There's something else going on that weekend too. There's so many things right then.
There's a lot.
October 20th, 21st is
End
just
of
a real busy time.
Our team, education, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. The Montclair Film Festival is, I was going to say relatively new, but doing...
About 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
I guess it is 10 years.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, this dream scenario, opening night with Nicolas Cage and Julian Nicholson, Michael Cera, Tim Meadows.
Great cast.
It looks really, I'm really interested to see this. It's on Friday, October 20th.
Yep.
That is Rhinebeck weekend.
And then the opening
right?
night party
It is.
Which is why I will be up in Rhinebeck.
Yes, Friday, October 20th.
Yep. So then there's a dance party
Always fun.
at the Wallfont. Yeah, so that'll be...
A lot
Right
of times
after
they have
that,
special guests.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the one... where did it go? We're seeing... Oh, this one, The Taste of Things.
Oh, I was looking at that one.
So we've got some of the catalogs here in the store.
We do.
Yeah.
So if you want to browse through
if you're local, stop on by. They're also all on their website. I do love looking at the catalog, though. I feel like it's nice to either turn the corners or stick Post-its on them, and then you don't have to
click in and out of each film to read what it's about. You can just
or end up with 100 tabs open or anything.
Not that we've ever done that before.
Oh my god, yeah, I have so many tabs. So many tabs open. It's shocking. But yeah, so Montclair Film Festival's coming up. That's going to be a fun one.
Yes. And then Rhinebeck weekend.
Rhinebeck is coming up.
Mm-hmm. And actually, should we just go ahead and talk about our special thing?
Yes, we should.
I know. And actually,
so Rhinebeck weekend coming up.
We have a little surprise. So I'm, as you guys know, I think I've talked about it like a million times because I'm super excited. I'm doing a whole weekend. It's going to be my first time to be up there since 2018. I know.
So long.
Yeah. So I was on all the lists and ordered all the tickets right away. And at the time that I got my Indie Untangled tickets, which I have the first entrance, the one that has the little goodie bag.
The very nice goodie bag.
Yeah.
Good.
I thought it was going to be me and my partner and my daughter. Well, as it turns out, now my partner has a comedy show in Philly the night before with his best friend. So he's going to do that and then take the train up. My daughter's not coming, so now it's just me. And I have 2 other tickets.
So,
Kathleen's going to take one.
I'm very excited. Because I have been to Indie Untangled before, but not in a couple of years, and I've never gone for the first slot. So I'm very, very excited to get the goodie bag and to have first choice of all the nice stuff there.
It'll be fun. So then we thought it would be super fun to have a friend of Yarnia join us for the morning and lunch. So we're going to, I guess, raffle-ish.
Give away that last ticket.
Give away the last ticket, yeah. So you'll find below, if you're interested, you'll find below a Google form. It's not going to be on comments. It's not going to be on Instagram. It's by Google form. There's a Google form.
We'll mention it, in other places, and still got to.
I mean, we're going to tell you about it.
Go through that Google form.
The only way to say I'm interested in a ticket is by the Google form.
Yeah.
And we need to figure out what the cutoff date is.
Oh, good.
Because you gotta know in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. This is for Friday the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Indie Untangled is at 10 a.m. The tickets per the 10 to 11:30 slot, so you have to be able to be in Saugerties.
And plan for 9:30.
At 9:30.
So that you park, and then you meet us in line.
So you can meet us.
And then and then we hang out together at Indie Untangled.
Yes.
And grab some lunch.
Yep.
Yay.
And then we'll grab some lunch. So we're going to do that till 11:30. We'll be there at Indie Untangled till 11:30, and then grab some lunch locally, and then
head on with whatever, if you want to check out Woolen Folk or Cakepalooza. Right. They're both nearby.
Yep. I'll be going to Woolen Folk. That's my afternoon plan. So
at this point, I'll probably be coming home after that because I've been saying all along I'm not going to Rhinebeck this year. And then a friend gave me a call and was like, somebody local, I'm just going up for the day on Saturday. You want to ride with me? And I was like, sure.
This is how it happens, folks.
Yes, this is if you're lucky enough to live 100 miles away like we do, or closer. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's 100 miles, but it's not, it's all highway. And
it's an easy drive. I've done it a bunch.
Yeah.
So if you are interested and if you are available on Friday the 20th, morning, early, fill out the form below, and then we'll do a random poll.
We'll draw one random winner from that.
Poll. Now, we're going to poll. When are we going to poll? You're going to do Tuesday morning the 17th. Is that enough time?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. And then
you see how we plan things here.
Yeah, we really plan far in advance.
The form has contact info and whatnot.
Yes.
If you put your name in the form but do not put your contact info, then we have no way of contacting you that you won.
And you can't be the winner.
And you cannot be the winner.
Those fields are going to be required. You can't submit.
Yes.
All right, good.
Makes sense. Yep.
Excellent stuff. So, that's an awesome prize. I mean,
it is.
Not the least of which, because I've had lunch with these two before, and it's
if you watch, we always have fun, right?
I know, we always have fun.
Yeah.
No matter
So
what we're doing.
so I think that'll be. I mean, it'll be a treat for us too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I'm bummed to miss it, but that's my son's birthday weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Ollie, right?
Ollie.
It's Ollie. Ollie had to go be born during Rhinebeck
The
weekend.
big
huh?
1-0.
Oh my God, the big 1-0.
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
he's so big.
My niece Tara was the first one in our family to say that because everyone else was like the big 3-0, the big 4-0. She's like
the big
"I'm
1-0.
big 1-0.
Yeah, you are, kid. So that's super fun.
Yes,
Yep.
it's gonna be exciting, and that's like a bonus thing outside of the
This
podcast
is just
for this week.
Amanda has an extra
It
ticket.
has an extra ticket, which is so nice that she's going to share it with
Let's
us.
share it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
That'll be
then
fun.
we have not really planned a meetup. You know, there are a lot of meetups going on at Rhinebeck. Do you know what you're doing on the Saturday? Do you have like?
I'm just there.
Mhm.
I'm not doing the Andrea Mowry vest because you'll see why. So I'm not going to be like pictures on the hill or anything like that. But all right, I cut out a bit of a discussion there because that was a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
That was because, as usual, we were planning on the fly.
Okay, so you want to say we'll be
off to the side
Off to
during
the side.
Andrew Mowry's meetup. Where it is on the hill, there's kind of a fence, and there's like some seating toward the back of that. And actually, that was where we met some folks a couple of years ago.
Is that near where the sheepdog exhibition goes?
No.
That's beyond. That's past.
It's kind of, it's hard to describe. It's like when you come down the end of the big path, if you come in the one parking, that's like nothing has names as far as I know there.
It's the
just
hill. If
the
you
hill.
ask anybody,
Yeah, people will point
they'll
to the
tell
hill,
you.
and then when you get to the hill and you see hundreds of people wearing tessellated vests and pullovers,
Yeah.
there's a fence behind that. We'll be somewhere back there.
Okay.
There you go.
adjacent to the Andrea Mowry meetup.
We'll be
At
just
the same time.
off to the side since we're
Ish,
not
But
wearing.
not in tessellated vests. Look
At
for
the
the
No.
Andrea
people
Mowry meetup.
not
Yeah.
in tessellated vests.
Yeah. So do you know?
Do you know where you're at?
Do you know what you're gonna wear? Do you-
Yes. On Saturday I'm gonna wear my
Dragonhorde?
No,
No.
that's Friday. I'm wearing. I always forget the name of it. Ribblesdale.
Oh,
right,
yes.
right. Your
I'm
Corey,
wearing my
Corey
Ribblesdale
confetti.
vest. Yes, with a little short dress with boots.
Cute.
Cute.
Um,
And I'm thinking about trying to finish my Ariana cardigan in time for that.
Ooh.
Because I've got like 30 out of my 48 squares done.
You could probably
And
finish
it's almost 3 weeks. I could probably finish
Well,
it.
and also, I feel like this is sometimes where if we give ourselves a deadline, even if it's...
Oh, always. Yeah.
You need it.
I will
need it.
caveat: if it is freezing,
Yeah, you'll have something else on.
I'll take up my knit collage.
Oh,
Good
yes,
call.
yes. Perfect.
So
Yep.
that's option B. I will either be in Ribblesdale or a knit collage.
Yeah.
Excellent.
One of the two.
And I'll either be in a yet to be completed crocheted cardigan in Licky Tweed or my what do you call it? Pixelated cardigan.
Pixelated.
Yeah,
Your
because
knit
it's
collage.
warm.
Yes, definitely. That's a great
Cozy.
idea.
Yeah.
That is smart. Cool. So let's see. Do we have any more around town? Stay tuned for more, basically, Rhinebeck planning. I think we have one more podcast before Rhinebeck.
Well,
It
that
comes out. No,
It
it
comes
comes
on
out
Rhinebeck.
on Rhinebeck weekend.
what I was thinking though, again, planning on the fly. I should have texted you guys last night. I think maybe the podcast we do right before Rhinebeck should come out maybe on the Thursday if possible. Because then
We'll see.
That puts pressure on Amanda for editing. So we'll see.
We'll see.
How
Well,
that
but also
happens.
because you're going to be gone after that anyway. So because if
Yeah.
it comes out the morning of Rhinebeck, well, whatever. Percentage
We'll
wise,
figure it
not
out.
that many people
Right.
go, but
And everybody can
we'll
watch
see.
it when your feet are tired later in the
Right.
evening.
There you
exactly.
go. All right,
You can
so-
kick back and
yeah.
kick back
So
and
our
watch
next
it.
one after this may be the day, maybe the Saturday of Rhinebeck. So
Right. But if you're going Sunday, you'll be able to watch it beforehand.
that's right.
Cool. So let's dive into our next section. What do we want to talk
Finished
about first?
objects?
Finished objects.
Finished objects.
Hello?
I shockingly
Do we have some?
Yes.
All right. I
Yes.
do too. Well, also, it has been 3 weeks since we recorded.
Right.
And I
Yes,
have
it's been
to
a while.
say, I am disappointed in myself because I'm still working on my last summer sweater for this year.
I mean,
Even though
let's
it's
be
now
real.
fall.
It's going to be 82 degrees today, the day we're recording.
Yeah, it is.
So you
Very happy to get one more wear of
got
my
time.
Yeah.
Ranunculus and Zoe in.
Yeah, that's why I'm still wearing.
So talk about what you're wearing since you already.
Oh yeah, sorry. There you go. So this is the second Ranunculus I ever made, and it is in Juniper Moon Zoe, and I just love it. It is really one of my favorite things I've made. So
wow. And that one uses the actual pattern, right? Like.
Yep, and I made this when I bought the pattern when there was only one size, and I just have made it according to that. I think I have downloaded the updated version with multiple sizes, and I've just never looked at it.
I have to look at it because I have Zoe earmarked for Ranunculus that I was swatching for, and I want it slightly denser, so now I have to figure out. Mm-hmm. Now I have to do the math and figure it out.
That's you can also look at this because that's what I'm doing.
I want
Zoe
mine even denser than that.
Oh, even denser than that.
Yeah, I like Zoe. I don't like my plant fibers too loose and open, and I know they grow because I don't always want to wear something under it.
Yeah. This one I do wear something under, but it's not. It's funny. I wore my gold one just like this yesterday because it was also pretty warm, and that one I don't know. That one it kind of blends in with my skin tone a little bit, so I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I can wear it as is. But I actually have 3 other finished objects because it's been 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So,
1 week. Go for it.
One of them Haley helped me with, which she was here for a few days. She's heading on back to school this morning. She says hello to everybody.
For the Beyond 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Because Boy Genius was playing at Madison Square Garden.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And So
my sister-in-law saw them, and she went down to Philly to see them. I guess
a couple of nights ago. Haley was there too.
Nice.
Really? Wow.
And New Haven 4 nights ago.
Oh my goodness.
I used to do that with Brandy Carlisle when she came through.
Some people follow Fish. Some people follow
Boy Genius.
Some people follow Boy Genius.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And she was not alone.
Yeah, but not anymore. Now her concerts are so big.
I know.
I used to follow her when she was like at the Morristown art theater and Southampton theater. It was great.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
So first thing is a scrappy purse made with Amanda's leftovers from her. What's your sweater again?
Durango.
Durango. I was gonna say derecho, and I knew that was not right.
Yeah, that's a T. Derecho.
So this
it's also
is
a wind. It's a wind derecho.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
This is out of?
This is all knit collage. It is spun cloud and leftovers from a mini skein set. So actually, Amanda, if you ever want to use this while you're wearing, this is going to be a store sample.
Yeah.
When Amanda finished her sweater, she had
knit collage isn't just for sweaters.
A fair amount left, and she's like, we should do something with this.
Yeah.
So I had been looking at the Sophia purse by VanRey Knits, and I, as you guys know, I love granny squares. And so I'm like, yeah, we need to make some granny squares out of this.
Yeah.
I played with, kind of played with what we had. I saw that I couldn't, I don't know, there wasn't really enough to do a whole thing as it was with 6 granny squares. And also, since I'm such a loose knitter and crocheter, my squares are probably a bit bigger than they would be for most people at that size.
That looks like a good tension, though, for that yarn.
I do, too.
Yeah.
It's not too loose. It's not too dense.
Yeah. I did this one. I made both sides one afternoon just sitting at it. It was a beautiful fall day. Yeah. Sitting, listening to my audiobook on my back porch and just making squares. So, but yeah, thanks to Haley for assembling. She did the sides. I art directed it. I just feel like, what next?
Use this yarn.
What next? I'm like, try that. So I will line it probably, and I will put ribbon inside the strap to stabilize it. But it's really cute, I think. It's really fun.
Super cute.
So now we have a crocheted sample of knit collage.
I mean, that is such a great way to use that, like, kind of super bulky, like, art yarn. Like, so fun.
Well, because some people say, like, don't like wearing the bulky sweaters. You get too hot. Like, if you run warmer or something like that, it's not your thing. But knit collage has... Well, that's not even a knit collage pattern.
Well, VanRey Knits used to
it
work.
is.
She used to work for knit collage.
Yeah, when
she just went out on her own.
So, but that pattern is a knit collage pattern.
Well, it's based on which was granny squares basically. Right. So it's
knit collage pattern adjacent.
Yeah,
it is. It's inspired by the Sophia that VanRey Knits designed when she worked for knit collage.
Got it. Okay.
That's a full disclaimer.
Using knit collage.
Right.
Yes, but, very much inspired.
But there's also a lot of home goods. Like
Yeah.
the pillows.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it
Definitely.
looks like when you do those, they look like they came from Anthropology and cost
Yeah.
a small fortune.
For
Right.
sure.
So
But you get the fun of making them too.
yes,
Yes.
So
So
there.
you can pick your own
and
colors.
the colors. You can pick your own colors.
Yep.
That alone,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
That's so cute. And then it just doesn't take that long. And like
No.
Granny squares
No,
are
it was
so
really-
big right now too.
Yeah. It was one afternoon. I made the 4 squares and then like seamed them probably the next day. And then, one evening, once Haley was home between her Boy Genius concerts, she did the joining. So
Yeah.
it was a handful of hours, not
And
long
you
at all.
use something else to join them. You did
Oh, I use bold. Yes, that is a really good point.
That's
Thank
smart.
you for mentioning that.
a
Because
superwash worsted.
yeah, even when
Thinner.
people were seaming, it's just if you have something handy that is thinner and it's basically roving. It's like
Yeah.
it's really loosely. It's not quite, but it's pretty loosely spun.
Mhm.
So you just don't need the bulk of the same thickness yarn. And we just crocheted them together from the back.
Yeah.
Using
Nice.
worsted. So
Very unobtrusive.
yeah, exactly. That was the other thing. I picked a color that was kind of within it,
Right.
and actually the way I'm joining definitely was inspired by what I've learned doing the Battenberg. I used her,
Tricks.
just
Nice.
I like the way it looks. I don't know if you want to bring it back up there, but it
yeah.
makes
It's a nice detail.
it is. I love having the one edge. I do back loop only. And so then you have the
Oh,
one
that's why
edge
you have
of
the front loops.
yeah,
you can
I
see
just
them
love the way it makes that
here.
little detail. It's like
Yeah,
it
it's like a
definitely
little-
it
like
adds
almost-
to the design basically.
Almost piping.
Yep.
Exactly. It makes the front edge look more like piping,
Yeah.
and then you've got that kind of double strand of your other thing peeking through,
Yeah.
but in a very kind of neat way. So
yeah.
it
looks
does.
very on purpose.
It's intentional.
Very,
Yeah, it's-
intentional. That's a
Mhm,
good word.
mhm. Cool.
Cool. What other finished objects do you have?
So we are going to talk later about one of the new yarns that we got in, which is
We have a ton.
Tibetan by Pasquale, and I'm trying to take the ring off this thing. I probably should have done that earlier.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so as soon as, actually our rep, Antonia, when we chose the yarn, had some leftovers, and she's like, here, somebody make a hat. I'm like, I will, because it had orange in it.
Yes. Because the colorway said Kathleen.
Eventually, this will be mine. But right now it's a store sample. So we found, I found this pattern, Snowy Stripes,
Ooh, I like
by
it.
Jill
Such a pretty
Zielinski. And I was able to use the leftovers for like up to the last couple of inches, basically.
great.
And then I had to get a new ball of gray for that. But I think it's so fun. It's really, and I love this gray pom-pom with it. It's
I love the pom-pom.
not
with it.
a
I think
perfect
it's so
match, but it's a
cute.
nice light, cool gray as well.
Well, and
Yeah.
that looks like a slouchy hat too.
It's a very
Yeah.
slouchy hat. Very, very
I
slouchy
bet if
hat.
you wanted to.
Oh, cute.
But if you wanted to make it more fitted,
Oh, there you go.
as soon as I finish the first one, then I've got
cute.
That's really cute.
I've got more
Ooh, that
leftovers.
feels so good. Ooh.
Doesn't it feel amazing? So
Yes.
it reminds me of
Delicious.
far, but even softer.
Oh.
Folk far, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's-
I don't know.
It's amazing. I've
The
never.
whole bar is pretty soft. I
It
don't think
is, it is. But I'm
Yes.
just saying it's like you
Yes.
think you can't get any softer and swishier.
It's that level of like.
Pasquale, man.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Ah,
no, it's not.
Cute.
So
bars.
I played with the pattern a little bit on the second one, which I cast it on as soon as I
Yeah.
finished the first one, and I decided I definitely didn't have enough of the light gray,
Uh-huh.
and I decided I wanted something a little more contrasty. So I still use the same orange for the little detail, and I changed the pattern a bit. I didn't have the spikes go as far in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just shortened it a bit. I just,
Yeah.
went through because I don't love a super slouchy hat for me. I love the way they look. I think they are super cute. I just don't enjoy wearing them. Partly, my hair, even though I have a lot of hair, it's very smooth.
Yeah.
And slouchy hats fall off my head sometimes.
Yeah,
They
slide
literally
off.
will slide off. So I need something that's a little more fitted to my head. So I played with it again with white as the contrast and omitting the last color change, basically.
Yeah.
So I may find a pom-pom for that too. Or maybe I'll make a pom-pom. I have plenty of the orange. So
Yeah.
so now I bought a new one of the orange and the cream. So actually, I could have been working on that today too, but this will probably be a new hat next time that I'm
Nice.
going to do stripes. I think that'll be really
Oh,
cute.
Yeah.
So I had Jean try this one on
You
last
have
night.
a trilogy of hats.
Yeah. I had Jean try this one on last night, and we are on the fence about whether this is a good look for him or not. So I'll do the stripes, and then we'll pick.
Okay.
Yes.
You can pick
I
stripes
think that's
or
a good idea.
stripes or pattern. So
Cute.
So that is finished objects for me.
Well, that actually leads nicely into my finished objects, as in, yes, I finally have some.
What?
Sorry, I'm going to put my enormous Muppet up there.
You're making a Muppet,
I'm
Jen.
making a Muppet. So, Jonathan, my husband, said to me, Jonathan's bald, and
Ooh,
he's
look how
like,
pretty.
he's like, I have not lost any of the hats that you have made me in the past. And I was like, okay, what is this preface for?
I know.
He's like, just to, so you know, I haven't lost them, but they're all in different coat pockets and I could really use some more. And I'm like, okay, so let's do that. And so at the store, I took a picture of the Eco Tweed, Ellery Eco Tweed, tweed shelf. And I was like, pick a color. And he was like, duh, the gray. And I was like, no.
Pick again.
I'm like, pick again. And he was like, the gray or the navy. I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to get you the navy, which is a beautiful blue. And
It is
then,
a nice navy.
like, the apple green.
Oh.
And I did a beanie for him
So
with contrast tubular cast on of the apple green. And then 1x1 rib. And then stripes of, I think it was like 13 rows of blue, 2 rows of green.
Nice.
And my standard, you know, sport to DK weight beanie.
8 points.
Decrease over 8 points to a thing. And so this I had to
nice.
dig out of his hoodie pocket this morning. But I had enough of the Eco Tweed is really, like, I really
It's so
like
soft.
this
It's really
yarn.
good.
It's
Yeah.
like, almost like creamy, buttery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has got a really nice
Like,
hint.
it's got like a little bit of like, it's got like a little bit of that, tweedy texture, kind of like the Kelborn Lucky Tweed texture, but like buttery.
It is buttery.
It's buttery.
It is.
Almost made Chad's sweater out of the Eco Tweed. That was my plan, and then Northlight said that they were discontinuing.
and then you're like,
Yeah,
I
Guess
had to
what?
gotta
You
use
get
that.
you get Northlight, dude.
right.
So I'm thinking of doing a sweater for my dad out of this. So I have
Nice.
this beanie, which let me put on my little head.
It's so cute.
cute.
I love it. I love your
I
stripe
like
pattern.
that,
Very
yeah.
fun.
No, it's just a really cute one. And then I had enough left over that I was like, you know what? Let me give another
I
option.
love this.
Me
So
too.
this is my classic ribbed hat or classic hemmed hat pattern. I just did it. I did it a little bit tighter gauge than I would normally because Jonathan was like, I want a mid-weight hat, like lightweight. So this is a little looser, so it's a little cooler. This is a little denser, so it's a little warmer. And what it is,
Look
Love
at
it.
this.
So fun.
Look at that.
I did a contrast hem. And
So
in this
fun.
case, I did so the way you do this, I have a pattern. It's under my name.
It's
welcome.
linked below.
It's linked below. You're welcome to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll also tell you the basic concept because really, if you know how to do a hat, you know how to do a hat, right? I did a provisional cast on of 90% of the number of stitches that I wanted my final hat to be. And in this case, I actually did a provisional cast on where I did essentially a Turkish cast on over 2 needles. And so I did Turkish cast on, you just wrap
Like
it
you
around
use for sock
both,
toes,
like
right?
you use for sock toes. And so I had one on I did the hem facing on a smaller needle, over 90% of the stitches. And then I just had the other needle, the body size needle, just sitting there waiting for me.
Oh, that is so clever.
wow.
I
So
love that.
I did I had fluff. I did the hem facing as long as I could stand it. And then I left that.
As we do.
I
Right.
banded those stitches on the smaller size needle, and then I just flipped over and went to my Turkish cast on.
And worked
and
your
I
second
did-
color.
Do the
Yeah.
pearl row?
2 rows. I did 1 row.
Excuse me.
I didn't want the green peeking out unless you
Right.
wanted
You don't
it
want
to
it to
peek out.
roll. Yeah.
So I did 1 knit row, 1 purl row turning, and then the next row I increased 10%. So knit 9, make 1. And then I did.
And that just helps the inside not be too bulky. It helps
Yes.
it not bulge out.
It helps it not flare.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did the same amount up, and then I knit the 2 live stitches together, and then continued on the beanie.
Love it. So fun.
It was going to be Jonathan. This has a slip knit top. This has a knit 2 together top. They just spiral different ways. It was going to be Jonathan's, and then Ollie saw it when it was about this far done, and he loves
He's
green.
like my hat.
He's like, so that's for me. And I said, okay. And he said that he wanted me to make a pom-pom for him out of the yarn that his class dyed with me.
Fun. So nice.
So they dyed this this was a art project that I did last year with them for auction. They all got a little bit of yarn.
So fun. And
they dyed it with food coloring and Kool-Aid with me and my helper, Samantha, who's very, very patient. And so he wants his pom-pom out of this.
I love it.
And I was like...
It's so perfect.
I was like, it actually goes really well.
Yeah.
But I warned him, I was like, that means I'm going to be cutting your yarn. And he was like, okay. And I'm like, no, I'm like, let me explain how a pom-pom is made.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, I might need to demonstrate to him how a pom-pom is made, because I feel like if I cut his yarn and he doesn't like the pom-pom, there will be hell to pay.
Yeah.
It would be very inconsolable.
This is the hem top.
So cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good workshop.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking
Do
too.
that.
As you were talking it through, you could do it as an online workshop.
I could do it as an online workshop. I could do it as an on-demand
Let us know if you're
online
interested.
workshop.
Ooh, there
could
you
do
go.
it as an on-demand online workshop. Let's get the first on-demand online workshop.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Oh yeah.
All right, so those are my 2 finished objects. I finished those this week because hats take like a day.
That would be a really good one for that though, because
Right. Easy.
and it's your pattern.
That's my pattern.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing I think
and you can adapt it to any size.
The other thing I think could be cool though about one of those is that if you do it live and then you edit out some of the unnecessary parts, that's a really...
The thing with doing it live and then enabling the live video is that people ask questions, and so there's a permissions thing going on there.
Okay.
And not everybody necessarily wants their
Mm-hmm.
image.
Yeah.
I personally don't care if my image is whatever. Like, do what you will. Knock yourself out. What are you going to do?
All right. Yay! Is that your only finished object?
That is my only finished object, and I'm shutting. There we go.
You really have fluff. You have a lot of fluff.
I have a lot of fluff. You know why? Because there's an end down there that's
Shedding.
shedding.
Mm.
Yep.
All right.
So what about you, Amanda?
I have a finished object, y'all.
Yay!
Yay! All 3 of us have finished object in
Yes.
the same episode.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I finished my give to.
Yeah, you have a
Oh my god.
big finish.
So one of your big Rhinebeck goals has been accomplished.
Yes. One of us going to Rhinebeck will have a sweater.
Excellent.
A new sweater.
Well, and I have my Ribblesdale.
You have your ribbons still. That's neat.
More to come on whips when we get there.
Cute.
But, yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta show the details.
Okay,
on that.
well, actually,
So
I'll
nice.
put it on. So this. All right, ta-da!
Oh my gosh, so cute.
So
So
this
nice.
is
You might need to steal that.
I know. Well, it's definitely stealable. But he loves it, so I don't think that's going to happen. This is my Give To by Andrea Mowry. Here's the... It's a raglan sweater, worsted weight. This is the men's version. There is a ladies' version that has a cowl neck. This is the guys' version, and I made this for my partner. Because he's coming to Rhinebeck with me. That's how you get a sweater from me as a guy. You come to Rhinebeck
Yeah.
with me, and then you have to also be presenting nicely.
Yes.
But everything is tubular cast on, bind off at the sleeves. Totally tubular. Yay, but
It's so cute.
my goal was to finish this before we went to France, and I did. I finished it the night before.
Nice.
Finished the last sleeve and bound it off, and he tried it on, and it fits perfectly.
Excellent.
So, yes. And
Nicely done.
so I actually, left him in the bed with the ends all out. And then, on the plane, he's like, I wish I'd brought the sweater. And I was like,
Good boy.
yeah. But I said, but you have to debut it at Rhinebeck. So,
Mhm.
You're like, welcome to the world of the Rhinebeck sweater. You don't get to do that.
so this will also be on the hill. But yeah, it's right. It feels so good.
I'm gonna leave shutting. I'm sorry. I took it off.
We actually still have a little bit of Northlight worsted, but I don't know if we have a sweater quantity left.
As of yesterday, we had 2. There's one. It's funny. I corresponded at length with someone who I think may be a podcast watcher,
Oh,
but who definitely who follows us and knows we carry Northlight. It's going away, all of that. And she had 3 colors she was interested in. She wound up getting 1 because there's one.
The striper has 2 dye lots, right?
Yeah, but they are very close. And the thing that I said about that is that if you were making a pieced sweater, they like literally I would use one for the front and back and the other for the sleeves.
Yeah.
Because they are that close. I looked at them in store light. I looked at them in natural light. They have different dates on them. They are not visibly different at all.
Yeah.
And something like that, as long as you don't have like a line in the middle of your chest or in the middle of your sleeve,
you don't want a
you're
shadow
good.
line.
You're good.
Right.
But again, you can always do the trick of like
Do the helical
alternating
and
skeins and
alternate
helical,
them.
or if you don't want to do that throughout your entire sweater, work till you have like, I don't know, like a quarter of a skein left.
Which
and
is usually what I
alternate
do.
those
Start
skeins
so it blends in.
Right.
Yeah.
But and especially something like that, like do it on the back.
Yeah.
Do it,
It's less of
again,
a pain in
don't
the
do
ass.
it. Also, don't do it in the front of your chest. Like that's the most noticeable place.
You're like right here.
Yeah.
No,
The other
right
thing
there.
I always suggest, and this is what the customer is doing. The sweater quantity she bought was like 8 of one dye lot and 1 of another. And I said, use the extra for swatching.
Yeah.
And for your ribbing. Like do your
the
neckline,
ribbing.
do your cuffs. The ribbing always looks different.
That's a different,
So
texture
so
anyway.
You got
it's
a little line.
you're never even if there's a slight difference, and that was again another they were very consistent with their lots for the most part.
Oh yeah. You can't guarantee, but like a lot of times.
There was one where we have like 3 and 6 or something, and they are quite different. But other than that's Jack's Blue. So if you're thinking about Jack's Blue, probably better for like a kid sweater and a young teen sweater or something.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's gorgeous.
Yes, I'm
It's really
happy.
so nice. So nice.
The texture is beautiful. It is, like I've said before.
A lot of pearls.
3 pearls to 1 knit.
Yeah.
All the way
a lot
around.
of purling.
Forever and ever. Which is one reason it took me a while.
Yeah.
Right, to finish it.
It's so worth it though. It's really gorgeous.
I just finished it now. I mean, obviously we've had a lot to do in between there. I did birds of a feather as fast as I possibly could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like deadline knitting.
Knit collage. I've got other baby stuff going on, and I've it's obviously has not been my only project I've worked on. But I wanted it to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yes,
because it's a great yarn and it deserves to be a great sweater.
And I think it's a really well matched yarn and pattern.
I agree. Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic look.
So it looks better on him than it does on me. It's very
it looks pretty darn good on you, Amanda.
I mean, I would totally be like, this is yours, but maybe it's mine.
I know.
I'm definitely borrowing this occasionally.
Like, I'm just going to be borrowing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cute.
Yay! So finished object.
Yay!
And a big one.
I know.
Significant.
All right, back. And then, well, this does feel much better. I just said that I might keep the other one on if it was, if I had told you about what I'm wearing already. But this is much cooler on, as we said, a day that's going to be 82 degrees.
Yeah.
Yup.
So, yay. Today I'm wearing my Eastbound by Courtney Kelly. And this is in the, this yarn is the Ancient Arts Lascaux worsted, which we don't carry anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wore it inside out. Hold on.
Oh, I was going to say.
Lascaux worsted.
Beauty.
Now with the knits on the outside. And this pattern, it's a dolman. Would you call that dolman sleeves, right?
I would call that dolman sleeves.
Yeah.
You start at the bottom.
Yep.
You increase out. You can see like there's increases here. And then at the end you like pick up stitches and just, it sort of like has drop shoulders. But there's a saddle actually on the top. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting construction.
Yeah.
Really nice.
I really enjoyed making this. There's knits and pearls texture. So this yarn was hand dyed. It's obviously a tonal. But you can see tonal variegations in this yarn.
That's
and it
pretty.
does obscure some of the knits and pearl texture.
Too much though.
Up here.
I feel like it's
The lace is very visible here in the front.
Yeah.
But, like some of the knits and pearls, not so much. But let's see. What would I knit this in now?
maybe the Juniper Moon BFL.
Yeah. The Juniper Moon BFL.
Oops, I just pulled
Yeah.
a little sleeve.
This is actually a solid. And I feel like it would show the knits and pearls really nicely.
Yeah.
What's the yardage on this? Because maybe that's something that you could use the Northlight for.
Maybe
If you're looking, if you're
Oh, that would show the knits and pearls super well.
Beautifully,
The texture.
right?
Which one? Oh, the Northlight.
The
Yeah.
Northlight.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't use as much. Although
yeah,
more
because
than
it
you would
doesn't
think,
have
'cause
full
you've got,
sleeves.
I was going to say
dolmans.
The bat wings are dolmans, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Take
your yardage.
some
The thing about the Lasco is that it was the sheep was not a white sheep, so you do get like that tonal or that dyeing over a colored wool.
Yeah.
And that made me think of. I think another great choice would be the quarry.
Yeah.
Because of the same. And also, I think LBA's dyeing technique is so. The skeins are really very similar.
I think we have this color in quarry, right?
Yes, we do.
We should. Yeah.
We're talking
Or
about
Jana.
Corey Worsted,
Yeah.
which is La Bianame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also
Worsted.
dyed on a not.
Actually, that's the Shire.
wool.
Jana is even darker than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is I like this one a lot, especially for days like today where it starts off in like at 62, but it's going to get to 80. For me, this is perfect.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very nice.
Love it.
Yay,
All
finished objects.
Finished objects. Let's talk about whips. Who wants to go first?
I can rotate around if you want. I can start at this end or
Yeah.
might as well.
Let's do that.
Yes.
All right.
We're
So
ready after finished objects. We don't need to be a downer quite yet.
That's right. Amanda has a.
So, I brought 2 whips with me. I've actually been working on a lot of different things.
Yeah, you have a lot going on.
I do.
It's stolen minutes.
Yeah.
Stolen minutes.
Yeah, I love my stolen minutes bag. When she put this one up, it's like this fabric is so
Yes.
me.
I
It
love that
coordinates
fabric.
with so many of my projects, and I do love her little the black and white inside. Just to me is
Yes.
the thing that sends it over the edge in terms of cuteness. So actually, I should take
My
my.
black pearl magic wrist strap on mine.
I love it.
Clever.
Easy carrying.
I'm gonna put my needle stoppers on this because this is Zoe, and it will slide right off my needles,
Yes.
even though they're bamboo. So last time we were together, I was talking about my 5th summer sweater, and I had started it. And actually, where is my project bag for this? It is. Oh my goodness, so many bags. It's this one, Tanny Casey.
Cute.
Actually, this is from Cakepalooza last year. She vended there. I believe she's
yeah.
vending there again. And I
Nice.
was very happy to
That's
snag this there. So I was doing the Luminous Summer top by Mini Me Knit Design.
Mm-hmm.
And I was using Chidifra Catone Fetto.
Yeah.
It really was the wrong yarn for the project. And so I decided that I was going to do it in Zoe. I did cast it on in Zoe, and I am 100% happier with it.
Oh, it looks so great.
Doesn't it look nice?
Yeah.
And, like, this is Zoe and this is Zoe. They're knit at completely different gauges, but it
Yeah.
works for both of them. And as Jen said, she's going to knit it even more densely.
Yeah.
It'll work for that, too.
Yeah,
It really will. It's such a great summer yarn. And actually, it's one that we leave out all year because for people who can't wear wool, it is such a great choice. And the
it
fact
really
that
is.
it can be knit at so many gauges makes it an even better choice. But I have about 6 inches maybe to the underarm. I'm going to work to about 9 inches, and then what I'm going to do is hold that Catone Fetto doubled and do like a 3-inch hem of that. Because I feel like
That's gonna look nice.
I think that would be fun, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like so many of my sweaters are solid, and I just wanted something. Well, that was why I started with this, because I wanted something that had a little more going on in terms of color.
Yeah.
But it just was not a great match for this pattern, both weight-wise, and it was obscuring the main detail, which is these little eyelets around the neck.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to do the hem part. I'm going to see. I may do like a little crochet, like
a little
single crochet
tippet.
around. Tippet. And maybe with the sleeves. So hopefully by next time I definitely should be done with this. And and if it's not 50 degrees, I'll wear it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
I sort of
that
hope it won't be 50 degrees.
I know. I'm like
more
I'm ready to wear
sweaters.
Some more of my sweaters.
yeah. But that is one. And then the other, and this is also with one of our new yarns. I just last night started Le Bandana.
Oh,
Nice.
And when I say just started, I literally mean just started. I did swatch to make sure that I was going to be getting the right gauge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. I mean, it's so tiny, but it's like, it is kind of like with the Musselburgh, Isola in that pattern says, work about 1 inch and then see if it's see what your tension is or see if you like it or whatever. But you're doing all that shaping and everything, and I'd rather just like knit 1 inch. So I did like a little tiny baby swatch, which is not anything I normally recommend to other people. But
you can make exceptions on your own.
well, but also it's like I am such a loose knitter that I never know what my tension is going to be with a given yarn, with a new yarn and a certain set of needles. So, I made an educated guess based on my usual differences in tension. I only went down one needle size, and I did get gauge going down one needle size.
Nice.
And, I kind of had the feeling I would. That's why I tried this. But this is using one of our new yarns, Felix. I believe this is my color. Actually, Helix. I always forget which is which. Felix is the brights.
Felix is brights.
And Helix is the more subdued colors.
Yeah.
So, so I'm using Helix in Stone and Yellow Brick Road.
Oh, pretty.
So that is that. And it is that pattern that you've seen all over Instagram and everything where it's a triangular shaped bandana, and I'm doing the version with 20 row stripes.
Love it.
So the standard small size uses, you do like 2 stripes of each color for 80 stitches or 80 rows. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to make it bigger than that just because I'm not going to make it huge. It is still going to be a bandana style thing, but I just like things that are a little bit bigger. And then I have plans for the rest of this yarn. So that's why I chose my colors. And hopefully the bandana will be done by the next time, and maybe I will have started the other thing.
Well, and I'll tell you, because Helix and Felix is, they're non-superwash yarns. Mm-hmm. You could do, you could have no ends. So because Helix and Felix are non-superwash yarns, you could do a Russian join.
Yes.
Oh. Which I love doing.
Or spit splice.
Well, you could do both.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a Russian join using a spit splice, because a Russian join, you basically are like linking arms, right?
Yep.
So like a Russian join you can do for if you're changing colors.
Yes.
So, and the way I do it, like if you want to make sure it's at the end of a specific row, like say 6 stitches before you get to the end, wrap the yarn around the needle 6 times, and then another 6 times, because you gotta you have enough yarn to work 6 full stitches. Mm-hmm. Fold it in half, spit splice it to itself, and then run the other yarn through the hole.
Yes.
Spit splice that to itself, and then you're just like,
just knit.
Go.
I'm gonna do that.
No ends. This is why I love a non-superwash yarn, because I don't like weaving in ends.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you need to do a little technique video on that, because I can't visualize what you're saying.
All right. So I can do that. But I'll also
we can maybe do it on Thursday. Well, not Thursday, but with this project.
Not right now.
So if you're green, if you're the green yarn and I'm the black yarn, link arms. Link my arms.
Yeah.
So the black yarn doubles up on itself. The green yarn doubles up on itself. Spit splice.
So you do your first one. You do the one that you're using. You make a little eyelet with it. Like you don't close it the whole way. You feed the second yarn through the eyelet, make an eyelet with that, and then.
But then, so then you're like knitting with 2 yarns at a time for a bit.
Yeah, and just for a couple of stitches. And this is so thin, it's.
And then the next, the color change like occurs where you joined them, and you continue knitting a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a tad bulkier, but
a tad.
Well, okay.
But you could also.
It's the same as overlapping yarns for a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Wise.
And you can also,
but then you don't have to weave in ends,
right?
Ever. You have beginning and end.
I like that.
And that's it.
I'm going to try it.
And
I think I understand this now.
But
I still think I'm going to ask Jen to make a...
I like it. It's a good
The other thing about that, if you're using a heavier weight yarn, if you're using like, I would say like a DK worsted or an Aran or up, split the plies. So you unravel, I just take the tip of the needle, unravel, like if it's like a 3-ply or a 2-ply yarn, break off one of the plies, do the same with the other, and then
it just reduces the bulk a little bit, but still gives you enough there.
Split splice too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too, especially.
It's too bulky, but
and also for this pattern, you are using Helix or Felix doubled, which it feels so nice. I mean, that was one thing when I was swatching. I'm like, ooh, I like this. I wasn't sure what I would feel about knitting
is that like
the 2.
Sportish weight once you do it?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Helix and Felix doubled is.
But look how pretty.
Sport.
The tiniest swatching creation.
But y'all have to see how pretty it is too.
When you guys swatch, don't make a swatch. If you're using it for like a fit swatch.
Yeah, for a sweater. No, this is
not
just literally to see what needle size to use.
If you're just trying it out to figure out, like, do I use a size 5? Do I use a size 4?
Yeah.
Then you just Yeah.
And I think I am using a size 4. I think that's what I went with.
Well, and I think also,
guess.
I wouldn't necessarily save that swatch. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, I would cast on a couple stitches, work a little bit, and be like, yeah, okay, this is good, rip it out, and then
do you know why I save swatches like this?
For the podcast?
No. Oh, well, I could, but sometimes when I'm working, if my gauge goes off, I like to be able to look at what it was that I achieved and say, oh, am I matching it? Like, that to me is an easy way.
A reference.
Exactly. And then, if I need it later, I will eventually take it out. But
that's when you're like, am I going crazy or is my gauge getting looser?
Yes.
But actually, the other thing I can do now, I can add it to the yarn bombing on the tree. We should actually, that is another finished object from the last 3 weeks for me.
That's true. The yarn bombing on our paper mache tree in the windows.
Yeah. One of our newest team members, Kim, is doing a great job with coming up with concepts for our windows. Like, we've always wanted to do something like that, and
she's so good.
Just never had the bandwidth to add it to what we were doing. And when we were talking with her about working here, she's like, and what do you think about windows? I'm like,
please do it.
We love to do great windows. So, we do, I put little videos when we're working on them on Instagram. They're in our Instagram highlights.
Yeah, so you can check them out.
Yeah.
That looks
but anyway, part of the tree, she made this great paper mache tree that's going to be here. We've got September planned, October planned. We're going to take the leaves off it in the winter.
Oh my goodness.
But,
how cute.
But I'm like, if we're going to have this paper mache tree in the window, it needs a yarn bomb. So that was something I did from the night we started to the next day when we kind of unveiled the windows.
I love it.
So, yeah, it's kind of cute.
And I recognized part of the yarn bomb. I think I contributed to it.
Yes, part of it is one of your scarves. I took, it was also when we were going through.
It was a demo for like
how much yarn you had of one skein, right?
Yes,
one skein of a yarn.
How far
we no longer carry.
One skein of whatever will get you.
I need to do those again.
Actually, there's some swatches from when you did the yarn tasting. There were things.
Nice.
We were going through old samples, and those were some of the things we found. I did a granny square with yummy. I did a granny square with bold.
Oh, nice.
A big one. I had a couple more. I love this because I was able to use up things that I couldn't bear to throw away, but there was absolutely no purpose for them. Like the remaining 2 circles from my Flowers in the Snow pillow.
Yeah,
I had 2 more, so there. But yeah, so it's really fun. So if you're in the neighborhood, take a look at our windows,
take a look at our windows.
Tree or yarn bomb. Let us know what you think.
Do you have other whips?
Those are my. Well, and I'm going to start the hat with the stripes, but that's like a pre-whip.
That's a pre-whip.
It's a pre-whip.
All right, I'll go with my.
That's where I am, and I'm going to go back to working on my sweater.
Actually, Amanda, do you want to do whips first? Because I got to get to the end of this row.
Sure. I'm going to do one more. I'll yarn over, knit two together, and then I'm at the end of my row.
And there you go. See, sometimes we just have to time this according to where we are in the patterns.
She's working on.
So I am still working on sock number 2 of my Shadow Box socks by Helen Stewart.
Oops.
I literally picked this up. I have not been working on this. I picked it up this morning because I needed something to work on during the podcast, because otherwise y'all would see me fidgeting over there, and that's not cute. But these are the Shadow Box socks by Helen Stewart, and they are in our Springtime at Yarnia colorway, which is now restocked.
Yes.
La, la, la. So if you love this color and weren't able to grab it in spring, now Springtime at Yarnia is back in the fall.
That's right.
Ta-da-da. So, and I love this color so much. It's going to be lovely to finish these socks. This is the second sock, and you can see like I'm almost done, but
It's a finished object.
it's plenty to work on for the rest of this podcast. Yay! So that's Shadow Box socks by Helen Stewart. That's keeping my hands busy while we podcast.
Yes. And got any others?
Yeah. The other.
Well, could we divert into this because it releases Springtime at Yarnia?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
We all forgot.
We talked about Springtime at this one last time.
Did I finish my hat?
Finished it.
It is.
And it's a different hat.
Right? Yes, Taisha and Melanie hat by Chelsea Rothschild in LBA Big Merino in Springtime at Yarnia.
Oh,
And this is one
I
skein
like that.
of the Big Merino, and it's a really cute pattern with decreases to make this diagonal.
And I like how the pooling goes the other way.
Loved it.
it's
I
really
know. I was
fun.
like, oh my gosh, it's spiraling the other way. It's perfect.
It is perfect. Okay,
Right?
I'll bring that up.
You go bring that up.
We're sort of patty today.
I know, it's a hat
Yeah,
day.
hey, it's September. It's October, actually.
Yeah. Look at
September
that. It's super cute. Here, I'll
Super cute.
model for you. Ta-da.
Oh, it looks cute.
Ooh, I like this one. I do like that. That's a good one.
It makes a really satisfying star at the top.
And there's our Springtime at Yarnia. And bulky. What do they call this one?
Big Merino.
Big Merino.
All
right, there you go.
There we go. All right, so back to
It's
your
soft,
whip,
too.
ma'am. It is soft. It was lovely to work with.
All right, it's a whip update because I did take Catherine's blanket to France on our trip, along with 2 skeins of yarn. And I went all the way through 1 skein of yarn, and I had one on when I left. I brought 2 unopened ones, and I finished the one I was working with, 1 whole one.
Nice.
I got like halfway through this one.
So cranking through.
Yes, but I actually, since I came back about a week ago, I haven't put a stitch on this blanket. I just like
Sometimes you need to pause.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
So gorgeous.
It is
Beautiful.
Yeah, so
I don't have that much left, right?
well, when I left for France, if you remember last time, I was on this straight part here, and I did basically this whole section, like this whole border section.
So pretty. Oh
while we were in France, which was perfect. That was good. I have one more border section like this. One more.
Another border.
Yeah, another.
Chunk.
Yeah, between the bobble, the puff stitch rounds. I have another wavy bit and puff stitch rounds, and then I have the scalloped edging, and that's all that's left. I'm on like row 72 of 90, so I've only got like 20 rows left.
That's fantastic.
Great.
Oh, but every row.
But they're so now.
I was
they're
gonna
so
say now it takes forever.
And I very much considered just putting on the border now and not doing the next chunk because it's pretty big.
Pretty sizable.
It's a good size.
It is. Yeah.
I put it on top of Teddy's just for like, because I also did a and I really like Teddy's size, and it's once I do the next section plus the border, it'll be the size that Teddy's is, and I'm like, fine. If it was close, then I was going to just skip the next section.
Right. You're like within an inch. You're like, that's close enough.
Oh yeah.
You're like, that'll block out.
No, I should do the next section.
You should do the next section.
Sort of annoying. Yeah,
do the next section.
But I think I want to get distracted with the coming home outfit, so I think we're going to do our
again. We didn't finish talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. But I think I'm looking forward to casting that on and getting that started and having that as an alternating project.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That helps it go faster too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I need something to alternate with.
Yeah.
On the trip to France, I did have a project to alternate with. And it turned into a bit of
tale of woe.
Oh, Amanda's sad tale of woe.
So yeah, I took my it's not like a devastating tale. It's just a quite frustrating tale. So I recorded there, and I'll put that in here.
Yes.
Let's just take a minute and enjoy how pretty this looks. Okay, so I'm filming an extra little tidbit today because by the time I get back to the US, I'm in France right now, in Saint Etienne. By the time I get back to New Jersey, this sweater won't look like this anymore. I finished the top of the sweater a year ago. This is Autumn Court by Dragon Horde Designs. I finished the top a year ago. I finished the stockinette section in the middle in July, and then it took me like 3 or 4 weeks to do the colorwork section, and I was so happy because I was ready. This was going to be my project while we were here in France, and I did it. I finished the ribbing, yay, and was ready to go on the sleeves. And then I tried to put it on, and that's where we had a problem. It doesn't go on at all. It gets to like here, and this bottom is way too tight. Like this middle part stretches quite a bit, like sweaters do, right? There's a lot of ease in a wool sweater, so this has plenty of room, but the color work, like literally I'm pulling on it and that's as far as it goes. So I think I made a couple of mistakes. First, I wanted a slimmer waistline than the pattern. Well, then I thought there were number of stitches wise. Because when I had the number of stitches up here, you might remember from July's podcast, I put it on purl strings. I took a look at it, and it was just way too much here for me. But I think what would have happened, so I put in decreases here on the sides, like on the sides of the sweater. I put in decreases here and over here. And I think those extra stitches would have given me maybe another inch or so. I don't know. A little bit more room to play with, which I might be able to like get it over the ladies if I had another 2 inches, but I still don't think it would be comfortable around my waist. Secondly, I think the 4 colors across is just way too much. I was also working on maybe a 24-inch circular, which I probably should have used a longer circular that was closer to my actual waist size, which is about 28. So I might have been on a 20. So even though the stitches went all the way around and looked bunched up, there wasn't enough circumference. Anyway, yeah. So that leaves me with, what am I going to do? So I just left it finished for yesterday and started here on the sleeve, because I can start on the sleeve. It's going to get done anyway. I'm going to have sleeves on it eventually, so I might as well start on them. But now I really want to try on the sleeves and see how tight they are, which means I have to be able to try on the sweater. And that leaves me with a dilemma on what to do. So I think what I'm going to do, and you'll see for sure, but I think I'm going to, I actually have purl strings holding my sleeves here. I'm going to run my needle right above this colorwork and cut it off. I'm not going to throw it away. I'll take it home. Because I also need to know if the bottom is wide enough, then I can salvage the bottom and graft it on eventually, because this was about 2 days of work. I'd really rather not throw away 2 inches of twisted rib, but this is definitely going away. Maybe I'll use it for something else, just the piece, but that's definitely going away. So I'm going to put this back on the needles above the colorwork. Like here, I'll cut it, put it on needles, and then I'll be able to try it on and see how the sleeves go and get to a good length on the sleeves. So that's the plan. We will see where this tale of woe leaves us. I'm a little bummed because I was optimistic that I could get the sleeves to like a mid-length, just do a quick edging and actually wear it to knit-eat, but given that I can't fit it over my shoulders, that's not going to happen. I'll have to go with the other sweaters I brought, which is fine. But just so you see the interim part of this journey, that's what's happening with Autumn Court. Ta-da! So you'll see why that ended up being a problem. I did literally put this sweater, this is again, I put it on in the clip there, but this is the Autumn Court by Dragon Horde Designs, originally made for 4 colors, but I'm doing it in 5. Yeah, I finished all the color work on the bottom. I did the ribbing, and then I tried it on.
Or you tried to try it on.
And it was literally one of those situations where I got it like over my head and on my arms and like to my shoulders, and I'm like, just pull it down.
It's gonna rip. It's
pull it down. And he's like, it physically won't stretch that far, Amanda.
Oh.
So, yeah. So on that clip, I was still in the middle of deciding what to do, but I think I decided by that time to just cut the bottom off, that was the best solution. So that's what I did. And somewhere in here, or maybe it's in the back of my car right now, actually, because I was working on this while we were driving. Yeah, it's in the bottom of the car. So I do have like the little swatch, which when you see it, right, like it goes from the side of my waist to like here.
Yeah.
It would
saw
not.
It yesterday in person.
It would not go around me under any circumstance.
It was,
and there is no stretch in it.
No.
It won't block out.
No.
No.
So now we have a very cropped sweater, but we have completed sleeves. I completed sleeves.
I mean, you got your sleeves done, which honestly,
Sleeves are so
when
cute.
you finish the body, you'll be like, oh, thank God it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, but I would have really been, thank goodness, if I had finished the body correctly, and when I bound off the sleeve last night, it was actually done. But that's not the case. So, yeah, so I finished, I had finished the body, all the ribbing, thought I was done with the body, tried it on, not done in France. And my options were to, like, unravel the body and try to do something then, or just deal with it, like cut it off, put it on pearl strings, and then just go ahead and do the sleeves. Because I brought only the skein of green yarn. So that's what I did. I just did the sleeves, and then finished one sleeve to where the color work needed to start, did the other sleeve to where the color work needed to start. So I came home with a body to where color work needs to start, and 2 sleeves to where color work needs to start, which isn't so bad. And yeah, since we've come home, I put the color work on both sleeves. These were also supposed to have multi-strand color work. I made a decision not to do that because once I did my math, this is, like to Kathleen's point, it's good to have a reference.
Yeah.
I do have a swatch for this. I swatched for color. My swatch is in here. I did not particularly swatch for gauge. I swatched for color.
Yeah, when you're using that many colors, that totally makes sense. You
Right.
want to see how they play with each other.
Yeah.
Not working on hundreds of
Yes,
stitches.
and I changed my deciding
Your
like
order and-
where I wanted each color to be. But I have the whole top in color work. So I could see like, oh, I have, because I had a 2-inch Chagu, like gauge ruler. So I measured for 2 inches and I was like, oh, and the gauge on this is supposed to be 28 stitches for 4 inches. So that's 14 stitches per 2 inches. And I measured. I have 13.5 stitches per 2 inches on the top color work.
So right there, yeah, that's...
I have 13.5 stitches per 2 inches on my stockinette. I had 17 stitches per 2 inches.
Oh my God.
In the color work.
No wonder.
In the waistband.
No wonder.
Yeah.
Which I honestly couldn't tell. Mistake number 1, I was knitting on far too small of a circumference needle. I think I was knitting on like maybe a 20-inch, maybe a 24-inch circumference needle.
Which is fine if you're just doing stockinette and you're like, whatever, I'm not going to change it.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was doing. Like,
I know. I literally been considering putting this is on a 32. I'm like, maybe I should put this on a shorter needle. Because
then
I
you
feel
don't
like I'm
squeeze
constantly
as much.
moving
It's
the
just more
stitches
comfortable.
along. Yeah.
Yeah, but once I got to the color work, and I think my other problem was I wasn't knitting in my normal way. When I knit color work, I hold 2 strands continental, so both over my left finger, right? And that's why my tension is so consistent, I think, because I don't change the way I hold yarn from one color to 2 colors. When I did 4 colors in one row, I had to have multiple balls and drop and pick up and drop and pick up and drop and pick up, right? And almost like
Just
each
that different
stitch,
process
yes,
made it tighter. Yeah.
and I was focusing on every stitch.
Yeah.
And I think it just made it way too tight, which was a problem. So
I have one thought. When you're holding that up,
yeah,
I think it would look great if you just finished it in green.
I totally have thought that.
I
really do.
I think you've got, I like the edging on the sleeves.
Yep.
I like it at the yoke, but I think it would look great in green.
Do you guys want to here?
I
Let me
think it's
try it
almost
on.
like gilding the lily to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's the way the pattern was written, but I don't think you'll. You know,
you need it.
do we ever follow patterns?
No.
I'll try it
No.
on just a sec.
I would finish it in green.
Really would.
James.
Totally.
I would finish it in green.
I've also thought about doing
And then you can still do
some
your
small
duplicate stitch
color
on
work.
the sleeve.
some like little.
Finish it in green.
Just this little detail right at the end. This little like dwilly bob.
Yeah.
Right there. That could be cute.
Yeah.
I'll do a couple just like, I don't know. I love the orange. I don't know. But see, now it's a crop. Almost. I mean, it would be like here.
You could do some deep ribbing.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
Like if you just do deep ribbing, like right
maybe,
where your
maybe work a
waistband
little
is
bit
right
longer,
here.
a tiny bit longer, and then do deep
do
ribbing.
like half an inch and then like super deep ribbing.
Another question, y'all, which is very serious. My belly is post 7 babies, right? Which is, it's a thing. Do we want color work?
I don't think you want color work emphasizing your midsection.
I don't want anything emphasized.
Says someone who never wants to emphasize her midsection.
Yeah.
Because, again, I only have 2 babies, but
I only have one.
Yeah.
That's not my problem.
I don't think that you need it because I like the detail on the sleeve,
I really do.
which calls back up to here.
It's sort of like this length too, which is what I'm feeling right now. Like I've been doing things more croppy.
I would learn to do like another half inch,
like 4 inches
and
of ribbing,
and then long ribbing
to right here.
Yeah.
Right,
I think
I
I
do
do.
a half inch to the top of the leggings, and then 4 inches of ribbing right here, and I think
agree.
that's a very flattering.
I completely agree.
Flattering length.
Well, that might solve my problem.
That solves a lot of problems.
It solves a secondary problem too, because that's all the yarn that I have left from my second skein.
But we do have one more here.
I know, but I would really rather not cut into another skein.
Yeah.
And so I have all the yarn
But I don't.
from my...
Yeah, I
if
don't.
you rip out what
I've
you
got to
cut
rip out.
off,
I'm totally ripping out what I cut off.
I know, but I don't think you're still maybe going to have enough for 4 inches of ribbing with what's there minus the color.
Then I'll just
cut off
do
this much.
Yeah,
Plus ribbing.
but
I know, but it's mostly the other colors.
I'll just rib till I finish.
Yeah.
That's we have it. I think it's a discontinued color. Just use it.
Or here's what I would do. I would
Just love
see
the
how far you
orange.
get with, but the orange is up here.
And it's gonna. I'm gonna do
it's gonna be
duplicate
in there.
stitch here too.
You're gonna have the impact.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a lover of sweaters that have like a lot of color work in too many places.
Yeah.
To me, it's too many
busy.
places. You don't need it. You don't need it. I think it's more contemporary looking. With just I love the deep ribbing idea. Really do.
I
like the cut.
totally
I like
what I'm seeing.
I like
the
the
shaping
shape
is perfect.
I
Yeah.
put side shaping in here,
Yeah.
if you recall,
It's
which wasn't in the
so-
pattern.
It's
I
so
like
well fitting through the
Yeah.
shoulders.
Yep.
I would just do
Yay.
like I would use the yarn that you have there in stockinette, and then I would rib with everything that you ripped out
Yep. Until it's
it's done. And you got as much and if it's not enough ribbing, then you can try it on and dip into another skein.
Yeah,
if you need
we
to.
have that skein. It's.
I think it's so pretty.
I really
like it. Yeah.
like how this turned out.
It fits beautifully.
It does.
It does,
I'm
yeah.
happy with the arm length. I think
Yep.
that
Sleeves
got
look
to
great.
the sleeves got to a really good length.
Yeah.
Which is always a little bit tricky when you stop and then do color work because
Yes.
it's like, is it going to turn out long enough? But I think they did, and
it
they'll
fits
block.
so nicely.
It's super wash, so it'll block even a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll loosen up
I think it's
when I
great.
block it, but not. It wouldn't have blocked out from here to here.
I think that's the
No.
universe telling you don't need color work around the hem.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe so.
So you're
And
you're just customizing it a bit. It's like
am.
and it also goes with the other
Style.
changes you've made. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It really is more in flow with that.
Then I might have time to make another vest before my bed.
You might.
We'll
See?
see.
Oh yeah, that's right. I said
We
I would
solve
do that too.
problems here
Oh,
at Chronicles of Yarnia.
I showed you the vest that I found, right? It's
Yes,
not
yes.
tessellated, but it's tessellated adjacent.
But
Totally.
Let's see.
but what pattern is it? What pattern?
Is
Is
it by?
It's a
It's
drops
a pie.
pattern.
That is the problem.
I don't
You
know.
guys?
It's not a problem for me.
It's not a problem for Amanda. But I'm going to tell you right now, as a heads up, as cute as the drop patterns are,
Yes. There's a drops pattern from 2020
They
that
generally
looks
are
very
not
similar
well
to
written.
tessellated.
be warned.
Just as a frame of reference, it took us 15 minutes on knit night to figure out what the schematic said. Like
And this is experience.
6 experienced knitters all saying like 44. It just had 44. There's just a 44 in the schematic. And I was like, is that inches? Is that centimeters? Is that for the front? Is that the whole circumference? There's literally no words.
You're like, maybe it's stitches. Who knows?
I
It's
know.
drops.
Who
It
knows?
could be. Again, cute patterns.
I think we have a consensus on what we think it is. And so I'm basically going to, I think, if I do it, modify heavily, basically use the stitch pattern and apply it to a vest.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Create a vest out of the stitch pattern.
Out of the stitch pattern.
I think that works.
Yay.
All right.
But anyway, I'm going to switch back. I'm sorry. I'm doing lots of changes today.
That's okay.
All right. I'm out. I'm done.
No more changes for Amanda.
No.
We say
what
that,
do we
not
have,
necessarily.
Jen?
So I have a big whip. I have a corner to corner blanket that will be a store sample in for real.
Oh my goodness.
And it is going so fast. This is going to
sort of jealous that your baby blanket is like this far.
Oh, this isn't a baby blanket. This is going to be it's an end of the bed throw. Or like, can you imagine like watching TV curling up on this?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking it was babyish because I have baby on the brain.
Well, and also it's blue.
Can you imagine a little? Yeah. This would be an amazing tummy time.
Oh my god, they would just be like, I love it.
I know, they'd be so happy. And sometimes, if you've ever done tummy time, sometimes they're not happy on tummy time.
Sometimes they are pissed off.
But this one,
it would definitely keep them very engaged.
So this is like a dead simple corner to corner garter stitch blanket. I am using a full bag of the fur reel, which is very affordable, FYI. To make essentially a blanket as big as I can make it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I decided to do corner to corner, which is cast on 2 stitches. And then the second, I'm slipping the first stitch. Why? I don't know. I didn't need to. Should have just
make
done
the border look so
to make the border look so even, because you're really going to see it.
You can't see anything.
You can't see anything. It's great.
But also, it keeps it, like, even.
It does keep it even for me,
like,
especially.
tension-wise. It's like, yeah.
And then I'm knitting into the front and back of the second stitch of every row
to do an increase.
And I'm increasing 1 stitch every row at the beginning of every row until I get through half of my yarn. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to decrease 1 stitch at the beginning of every row until I get through the second half of my yarn and make a big square. I may vary it and I may make it into a rectangle. This is 3 skeins.
Wow, it's going to be big. It's going to be great.
It's going to be, Mike, it's an end of the bed blanket. It's a, cozy throw, like the kind of thing that you pay $500 for, like Pottery Barn.
So true.
And this is so much better. So I might do a rectangular, and if I do rectangular, what I'll do is I will increase at the front, at the beginning of one row and decrease at the beginning of the other row to basically make it go rectangular on the bias. And then after doing like a skein's worth of that, then I'll do decreases every row.
As I've never looked, what's the washing instructions for this?
It's machine wash and dry.
Is it really?
I believe it is. Let's just
check that. I know you have
I would machine wash and dry. It's polyester.
So we have
just like
a very nicely curated selection of colors of this now. We've got like black, gray, white.
No, machine wash, don't dry.
Machine wash, don't dry.
Hang
to
dry. Flat to dry, whatever.
It's
hot. 40 degrees Celsius.
But it'll dry in no time.
Yeah,
it really will.
It's all poop.
Yeah.
And the one thing is the yarn ends do shed a little bit. That's where the fuzzies have been coming from. And I realized I didn't do my normal trick, which is to just tie a knot at the end of it so it doesn't shed up.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
But the rest of it
is
totally fine. It's just garter stitch, guys. And like this makes the best cowls.
Yes. You remember that huge cowl I made for Lily?
Yes.
I've been cleaning out
the one I called the Muppet cowl.
Yes.
It had all the Muppet colors.
I made one for my friend out of 1 skein, just a short little kind of stand-up thing, and she calls it her thneed.
Yes,
from the Lorax.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my whip. I should be done with this very, very soon. And then the other thing I am going to say as I dig, is I have finally decided on my sweater class. And it is going to be Sven's daughter?
Yes,
sounds right.
Sven's daughter, which I am going to be doing in Corey.
Oh, that's so pretty. What?
And Wensley worsted.
Wow.
It is a Fair Isle yoke.
This looks very neon to neutral.
It does look very neon to neutral, doesn't it?
Yes.
It is a Fair Isle yoke pullover, and if anyone's interested in making it a cardigan, I can tell them
Oh
how
yeah,
to steek
absolutely,
it.
absolutely. That would be.
So I have to figure out the schedule. It may actually be on the website by the time you watch this. It may not. If not, keep an eye out. So this is going to be the body. This is Corey worsted in bone.
Nice.
I was trying to decide between bone and avoine, which are very
Avoine,
whatever.
Which are
Similar.
super similar.
And I have to figure out my color patterning, but I'm gonna definitely use Isle of Arran, which has been calling to me.
The teal.
Buttercream for the white.
Oh yes.
And then I think I'm going to have like me some pops of sari.
Yep.
Nice.
So I will say this pattern does have a third color. It's not just 2 colors per row. There's like 1 or 2 rows that have a third color, but we'll go into either how to avoid Amanda's
or do what I'm doing on my sleeves.
problem.
I forgot to say that.
Duplicate
I'm going
stitch.
to duplicate stitch.
Duplicate stitch.
Duplicate stitch.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I just did because the 2 I had just as much stretch, and I'm just going to duplicate stitch the other colors on.
It's so fun.
That's
I
the
love
easiest way to do it. So these are my colors.
Very nice.
I love it. This is a DK weight. So the Corey worsted is actually perfect. I've knitted at a DK weight before. I actually really like the fabric. It's a gauge shifter like Zoe. I would also look at Scout.
Scout would be great. And
So Scout would be fantastic. We have a ton of DK weight. Barocco would be great. I think the Corey worsted would be great. I looked at actually some of the Helix and Felix colors because I was like, you know what, I could use that double, possibly triple, depending. You know, especially if you're just using it for like a single pop of color or for color work.
So would the Rowan Alpaca Soft DK.
The Rowan Alpaca Soft
Oh
DK
yes.
That would be
That would be
super
really
nice.
nice.
Yeah, so all of those I think would be really great options.
And actually, if you were doing the Rowan, you could even do like felted tweed for the body and then alpaca soft for the yoke or something.
And like,
That would
I feel
be-
like this is the kind of thing that you could absolutely mix and match. I probably would stick to, if you're going to steek it, do a non-superwash. It's going to be easier.
Yeah.
You can steek superwash, but you need access to a sewing machine. FYI. But this would be great steeped. I think it would be adorable. And there's not a ton of projects on Ravelry, but a couple of them did like very holiday sweaters.
So cute.
With
There's
like
one of a
mom
and a baby that is just so cute.
Just adorable.
Adorable. So I think this is going to be really
putting
fun.
a picture of that in here.
Yes, because she's so cute. So cute. So those are my whips. That's all I got.
I'm sure people are going to be excited. You've picked your sweater.
I have finally picked my sweater. Sorry it takes me so long, guys. I have decision making issues.
It's going to take a while to make it, and then you want to have something you want to wear.
I want to have something I want to wear.
I think it's worth taking time over decisions like that. It really is.
Right?
Exactly.
I want you guys to learn something new and interesting and like, you know,
and honestly,
a bit of novelty.
But also for some people, it is just the accountability of doing it as part of a group. And,
totally.
And that's fine too.
Well, and also this sweater class is on Zoom, so you can join it from wherever you want. Which I mean, I am lazy and I love that because I only have to roll out of bed and walk down the hall.
It's so nice.
Actually, I go downstairs, get my coffee, and upstairs and walk down the hall. Yeah, so it's super fun. If you guys have any interest, please join. Like, I really enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's always a good group, and actually, people get to know each other a little bit too, which is really nice. It's like it's a community, but it's a welcoming community.
It's a welcoming community.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. You can do it. Trust me.
Absolutely.
All
right.
So yeah.
So we have
a new segment.
We do, and we've been talking for a while already, but we have a few things that Amanda will cut out. But we still have to talk about what's new in store and also our question. So why don't we talk? Well, and also
let's do our last episode question.
Let's do our last episode question and our winner. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So, the last episode was where we talked about. Oh, and also we didn't say what episode it is. Again, we've forgotten that lately.
110.
Close.
111.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
As Ali says, make a wish.
For 111, I know.
111.
Toothpicks.
Oh, yeah.
222, 333.
I love dates with like
palindromic dates.
Yeah, I have Teddy. I love it. Was born on 120120.
Wow.
That's good.
And Catherine was born on 1/22/2001.
Jonathan's brother, 7777.
Love
Wow.
it so
Wow.
much. Oh my goodness.
I know.
My
It's like, if
birthday,
your lucky number is not 7, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, really. My birthday is December 13th, so whenever I write my date, it's like 12/13.
Oh,
Love it. So what was our last episode question?
Last episode, we launched our opinions section, hashtag opinion, and thank you all. So many people, gave us suggestions for things that they would like our opinions on. And actually,
You guys had great questions.
and we were so lucky. We got to spend like an hour together yesterday during the sale because we were all here. We overlapped, so we got to talk a little bit about all of those things and really come up with our plan.
Kathleen did a great document and like basically handed it to us, and we're basically them like, I have opinions on all of these.
yes.
So we are definitely we're gonna save some of them. We're gonna talk about a couple of things today. But go ahead, if there are things you would like our opinions on, continue to use
Keep doing it.
hashtag opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep compiling them. This is one of like 3 pages of that document.
Yeah.
But so what we're doing for this episode is the person whose question we're answering basically is the prize winner.
Yes.
And then we have another one, a lot of them kind of grouped in sort of natural categories. So we're going to talk about 3 other ones that were sort of related.
Yeah.
But our winner is Aida Boza.
Yay!
And her question, which we're going to discuss right now, is do you try to follow the designer's yarn of choice?
Ooh. Before we do that, what did she win?
She, very, very good point, Jen. Thank you.
Because I know us.
She won 1 ball of Nora Malvinas.
Yay!
Which is this beautiful yarn behind our heads here. So
That's a great prize.
So, and Aida, I don't remember exactly where she lives, but she has visited the store on one occasion, and when
great.
she introduced herself, she's a regular watcher, so,
I think
thanks for
this
your
sweater would
question.
actually look really nice.
Oh, it
this too.
would.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be
pretty.
beautiful.
That would be pretty.
That's the right way. So you,
Let us know what color you would like.
Yes.
Let us know if you want something else. Shipping's on
Contact
us.
us.
So just email us. I'm not sure if we have your address yet or not, but get in touch and we will get your selection right out to you.
So
and
what was
in
her
the
question?
meantime, we will answer your question,
Yes.
which is, do you try to follow the designer's choice of yarn? And when we were agreeing on that yesterday, we laughed. And not in a mean way, but just
no.
like, no.
Yeah,
The
no.
answer for all of us on this one is no.
Hell
and
no.
in fact,
For me.
we started counting on,
I know,
most of us can count on one hand the number of times we have used
Yep.
the designer's
Yeah.
choice. So that's not to say you should use any yarn for any pattern.
no.
But, there are so many reasons that designers choose the yarns that they choose.
They could be getting yarn support
sometimes it's
from your
yarn
company.
support. And that's not to say that yarn isn't a great choice. I'm sure it is. Like, if most of the time, if a competent designer, well-known designer is using a yarn, it is one of the things that is recommended. But, as the person among the 3 of us who's here in the store the most hours dealing with people who come in, so many people think that is the only yarn you can or should use, and it is just so far from the truth.
Right.
And it's, I have to explain this to people at least 3 or 4 times
Oh,
a
yeah.
week. So it's like, I don't want to say it's a pet peeve of mine, but I feel like it's something I'm really passionate about.
Yes.
I really am, because, so especially if it's a well-known sweater, somebody will come in and say, I'm looking for X, and it's like,
You don't need
there are
that.
That's
so
been discontinued for 8 years.
there's that too, especially when somebody's working with an older pattern or
Right.
something. Yeah, and people think, oh, I need to find a new pattern. No, let us help you find a yarn that has similar characteristics. That is the main
Exactly.
thing that you need.
And I'll tell you, like, a lot of times, even if designers get yarn support for their pattern, sometimes they'll design for a specific yarn, but a lot of times they'll design a sweater, and then if they end up selling the design to a yarn
certain
company,
company,
they'll
yeah.
redo it in that yarn.
Exactly. So even the designer may not have originally done
Right.
the sweater in the yarn that they later are suggesting.
And it's only recently that there has been even like a nudge towards like designers having to supply alternate suggested yarns. It used to be, and I think, I think that responsibility should still be on the maker. It should be on the knitter or the crocheter. Be like, okay, learn how to yarn to substitute yarns.
Yeah.
It's a huge skill to have in your arsenal, and I don't think it's that difficult. But also, like, if you go to a local yarn store like us, like, We'll give you our opinion.
Exactly.
We'll tell you what could work, and we can tell you what qualities you want.
Whatever your yarn, you don't have to, we're not even just saying come to us. I mean, we love it when you come to us, but any local yarn store should be able to help you do that.
Yeah.
And
I think it's not just like, it's not yarn weight. And when you say like anybody should be able to do that, I think it does take some practice and using different fibers and like almost experimenting for yourself, like how things turn out. It's like, I just was in wine country, right? And the people that like know this is what happens when your grapes are on this side of the hill and get more sun and less water. This is how it's going to turn out in the bottle, right? And that's what winemakers do, is they know for each altitude how much rain is it getting and what's that going to produce in the bottle. Similarly, right? Like if you have if your pattern calls for worsted, well, a superwash worsted is different from a single ply non-superwash worsted is different from like a far chainette construction lofty yarn, right? The way that the designer made that pattern to drape, right? Like they had a vision for how they want that garment to look in terms of structure, drape, flexibility, all that kind of heaviness on your body. Like if you do an alpaca color work, it's so heavy too,
and warm
and drapey, and it's always going to lengthen, So you
like
want
an Icelandic wool, which is going to be lighter,
poofy and airy.
Yep.
Still warm,
but not like it's once it gets to that shape, it's going to stay that shape. And it's not going to.
Yeah, it's generally not going to lengthen unless it's something that's so. There's like this coat that I want to make. That's one of the things I'm thinking in Icelandic wool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you if you're not experienced on this on your own, you need advice from a local yarn store. But and also the other thing, and we talk about this all the time, is and like we just talked about with Amanda's sweater, how do you want to take what the designer did and make it custom for yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes you may even go off in a different kind of fiber or something.
Yeah.
But as long as you know how that fiber is going to react with,
so you're not surprised.
how it interacts with the pattern.
Yeah.
So that if you do want something, like heavier and drapier and kind of more clingy to your body, maybe alpaca is a good choice.
Alpaca would be a great choice.
Like if you find a pattern that you love, it's like, except I would like it to have these other characteristics. Yep. That's one of the ways you can customize things, by choosing a yarn that, has some of the things that the pattern calls for, but then has changes in other ways to make it more what you're looking for.
Yeah.
There is a great website called Yarn Sub.
Yarn Sub. I love that website.
And that is a fantastic place to start if you're unsure and you want to do research. And I'll tell you, here's the thing. If a pattern calls for superwash fingering, almost every superwash fingering will be fine. They a lot of times indie dyers get their bases from the same places that other indie dyers do.
There aren't an unlimited number of those. There are a handful, and a lot of times when you see yarns, you can tell, this is the same base as so and so uses. So
I could, or it feels the same, even if it's not the same. It feels the same.
It's similar.
Right?
It's very
they're very similar, and they're designed to take dye a specific way, and that's why the colors are so vibrant and beautiful. But start with Yarn Sub, and you can go look and see, what is the yarn that the pattern calls for? What are some of the characteristics? And let me see, and a Yarn Sub will give you some other suggested yarns. It's also great if you're looking for something that will give you a similar feel to a discontinued yarn. But
absolutely. Yeah.
I have, I think, 3 projects where I used the designed yarn. One is a test for Amanda's pattern, where she was like, use the far. And I was cool.
Me too. That's one of my handful.
One is a knit along. It's the Tulsa Tank. And I was like, no, this is great. And then one is my Carpino sweater in Brooklyn tweed, and I regret making it in the yarn that it was called for. I do not think that sweater and that yarn played nicely together.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, that's a bummer, and I never wear that sweater.
Yeah.
I may actually sell it in our sample sale. I don't wear it.
I did my Franca with in the Woolfolk Far, which is what Julie Weisenberger, she always has multiple yarns that she has samples in, but that was one of them. What else did I say that I'd done that?
Well, the other thing we did obviously was our knit collage. So that was
and our knit collage.
Yeah. So if you're doing a knit along, that is exactly that's the other thing. Yeah. There are certain things that are really unique. And it's going to be hard to substitute.
I was like, if I do another knit collage, I could mix knit collage with some of my hand spun, but I would have to pick my hand spun because it has similar qualities.
Right.
Oh, the long anime socks that I did, the Jasper Ridge.
Yes.
That's the yarn design.
That was the colors from the yarn.
Not only
because I just love the colors for that design. Oh, and then I've done some kits, of course, because I love a kit and a knit along. So I do that. That was actually I did a kit once. I had a kit once that had. There was a relatively simple shawl that had some stripes in it. And we did this for our holiday 12 days box. We had multiple different fingering weight yarns incorporated into one kit
different
pattern.
dyers. Yeah, it was people we had trunk shows with that year.
And that is such a good way to experiment with how does this fingering weight hand-dyed sock yarn differ from this other fingering weight hand-dyed sock, right? And really start to understand the nuances between fibers. That kind of thing is super helpful for that. Yeah. I have an idea for another box, but I still haven't designed the pattern. It's been in my head for 3 years, and maybe it'll be a 2024.
Yeah,
maybe it will. But the interesting thing, it's funny because I came across my scarf that I made from that knit along. They're slightly different bases and everything. They play beautifully together. They really do.
They do.
So So don't
you feel when you're knitting it, you understand I like
that they're not
feel
exactly
of knitting
the
this
same
better than I like the feel of knitting that. You that might influence your choices because
you might have preferences.
Yeah.
But
all right. So that is our big
opinions.
Our opinion on So. Clearly no, but when you make changes, just do it thoughtfully so that you're still going to be happy with the result that you get.
Yeah, I think that's great.
All right. So since this was our first time doing the opinion segment, we also had a group of things. I'm just going to read through them all, and I'll send you the graphics in a minute so you can pop them up. So there were 3 questions that were kind of related that we thought we would address together. So Ann Ball 5249 asked, "Can superwash yarn be used successfully in sweaters?" I know Amanda used it for color work in this episode as well, which you didn't know at that time, but it's actually the one we just talked about at length. And then PD Chow 8344, who is Pearl, who sometimes comes to Knit Night, who's one of our customers, said, "I follow a knitter/pattern maker who will only use 100% wool yarns, non-superwash. What are your opinions on that? Pros and cons?" And then finally, Karen Patience asked, "What do you think about using acrylic yarn?" So, there are, there definitely are times that we use any of those yarns, but...
I use all of them.
Yeah, I
use all of those yarns today.
I know. Actually.
Yep.
I have almost. I have. So superwash yarns, there's nothing wrong with superwash yarns for a sweater. I think you just need to know the qualities of what a superwash yarn, how superwash process changes.
Right.
And this is where swatching is your friend.
And experience.
And experience, too. Superwash takes colors so beautifully and so vibrantly, and it's gorgeous.
Is what superwash does.
That descaling process. It just changes the fiber so that it accepts the dye differently.
It accepts the dye differently, and you can get different colors and different things. But I know people sometimes get scared of superwash, and sometimes people get scared of non-superwash for different reasons.
Exactly,
Superwash behaves differently when you block it. And the reason it behaves differently when you block it is because of the method that makes it not felt. So it makes it machine washable and machine dryable, makes the wool behave differently. So it won't felt. So it has a tendency to grow out of shape. It needs the heat, or it needs heat to snap it back into shape. So there's 2 ways to approach this.
It's like when you get your hair done, right? Yes. And you get a nice blowout and it looks good because you just got a blowout.
And then you put water on it and it changes.
Yeah.
Right? It poofs up, it limps down, whatever. So, number 1, I tend to knit superwash yarns for a sweater that I don't want to grow at all, a little bit denser.
Yes.
I go down a needle size. I mean, I already go down a needle size because I'm a loose knitter. But if you knit it denser, just like with plant fibers, it doesn't have as much room to change.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other thing is, and if you remember Eric's red sweater from last fall.
Yeah.
Where I hold on.
Sorry.
Nope.
What was that one called again?
Hush by
Right.
Knits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
really pretty.
And I knit it in the Alegria Grande by Manos del Uruguay, which has great saturated colors. And Eric loved that carmine, the red carmine.
Yeah.
That sweater had cables at the top, right?
Yeah.
And a cable helps give a garment structure.
Because it's going together.
Yeah.
Seams help give garment structure, and that doesn't mean that you need to not knit it in the round. You can add a faux seam with a purl stitch and then seam up on either side. That'll help give it structure. The easiest trick, and the trick that I suggest to two things. One, swatch and then wash your swatch and see how it changes. So a swatch knit in superwash yarn will do one thing pre-wash, and it'll be another thing post-wash. It'll probably grow, it'll probably stretch, it might even feel so open it's sleazy.
Yeah.
So the solution to that,
And also,
yes,
it'll be different depending on the gauge and the size of the garment.
Yes,
So, like,
exactly.
my
that is
heavier,
the thing.
My fingering
longer.
weight is a light garment because it's not very thick, it's not heavy, it's at a
It literally doesn't have as much weight to it.
it doesn't have weight.
It's
right.
yeah.
So it's
that's
not
probably,
going
that
to
whole sweater is going to be under a pound.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts.
Oh, definitely.
it's not going to stretch out
It's barely
vertically
half
as
a pound
much.
because I use 2 skeins of the green
Yeah.
and fractions of the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Versus a worsted weight.
a worsted weight with that would be several
A worsted
pounds.
weight adult sweater.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When I'm making Eric's, he's a peanut, he's a kid, it's not going to be as heavy. So it's not going to stretch as much.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the weight
Yeah.
of the garment actually has an impact
Absolutely.
on the way it behaves.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the length of a garment too. I mean,
Yeah.
like the length is
Is
directly
it a crop
related
sweater?
to the
Is it
weight.
longer?
So if you're making something that is like literally like a knee length sweater, know that is going to
yes.
stretch
It's gonna
more
grow.
because
dress,
because it's longer
sure.
than a sweater that comes to your waist.
Yep.
Literally from just the physical sheer weight of the item.
Yeah.
My flower buds is longer than I intended it to be because it's
Mhm.
cast merino, which is superwash.
Mhm.
And when I blocked it, and it's at a loose-ish gauge, but not terribly loose, but when I blocked it, now it's a like here length. I wanted it fitted here, but it is not. But it still looks good.
And that's, let me just say one thing, like, I feel like that is directly related to when you are swatching with superwash especially, measure your swatch both before and after blocking. Because, and it's kind of like the minimum that it's going to grow.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about.
It
like,
might grow more.
It likely will grow more if it's an item with any weight.
And also, superwash was designed to be dried.
That's the other thing, yes.
So, as
Not
scary,
if you knit it with mohair, though.
not if you knit
No,
it with
no,
mohair.
yeah.
But mohair will help it
Yes.
because mohair
Retain its shape.
doesn't slide easily against itself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are knitting a 100% superwash garment and it has grown, if you did not measure your swatch before and after, or it's grown too much, what I usually tell people in the sweater class is like when you're blocking it, block it as you normally would, and when it's 50% dry, 75% dry, throw it in the dryer in a bag,
Lingerie bag.
on
A
low
laundry bag.
for like 10 minutes. Keep an eye on it
Yep.
and watch it snap back to shape.
Don't
Yep.
throw it in with all your towels.
No.
No.
But
Get
if
this.
you're knitting superwash socks, like you're knitting socks, you put your socks in the dryer.
I put them in bags now. When we opened Yarnia, I always just threw them in. And I will say, over time, like, it fuzzes up because you have jeans
Just abrasion.
and towels
Yeah, it's
just
rubbing
everything else in
against
there.
them. And like, you buy a plumper superwash yarn, like Tosh sock, you'll actually lose stitch definition because
It'll
fuzzes more.
If you're not putting it in a bag.
If you're not putting it in a bag.
Yeah.
The La Bien-Aimée is a tighter ply.
Yeah.
That ends up playing into how much it'll abrade.
Yeah.
Put it in a bag.
Yeah.
Adulting, hashtag adulting.
Also, you just keep your socks together and you don't lose them.
That too.
That's, I mean, honestly, that's 90% of the thing. And I'll say about non-superwash yarns, a lot of that comes down to personal preference. Some people really have opinions about the methods of making something superwash, and if they're trying to limit their ecological imprint, non-superwash yarns are great for that. There are different ways of superwashing.
Yes.
As to say, some are more eco-friendly than others. Some are
last longer than others, by the way.
Right. Some are like literally putting a coating on the yarn, microscopic coating on the yarn to keep the scales from rising up and felting. Some are essentially like burning the scales off, and others are proprietary, and I don't know how they do it.
And there's even the Lane du Nord has something else that's not, they don't call it superwash, but it
non-felting.
Yeah, it does the same thing, or it results in the same sort of capabilities of the yarn that the superwash process does. But yeah, that's one of those.
There's a lot of companies that have been moving away from the burning the scales off, which is the most persistent. In other words, that superwash is going to last forever.
Yeah,
because the scales
aren't
gone.
there anymore.
They're
in
gone.
Order to there's nothing to catch on to the other fibers because they're literally gone.
So it like preserves that superwashness the longest, but there is an ecological impact to that.
Yes,
because it's very chemical intensive and water intensive.
Yeah.
So
and that's not the only reason that somebody might avoid superwash. Maybe they've been burned before. Maybe it's grown too much. Maybe they just like the feel. Like I like a rustic feel.
That is exactly. That is one of the other big things, and that's what I was going to say. Specifically to Pearl's question, some designers only use it because of their preference about how they like their yarns to feel. Yeah. Like this is non-superwash. It definitely has a bit of a rustic quality. For some people, they don't like their wool to feel any other way, and so they're never going to like a superwash. But just because the designer does that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to follow that.
I like a not superwash wool feel.
I
do too. I think it's cozy.
I've gotten to. It's funny when we first opened. Yeah, I definitely was much more on the superwash all the time train.
Yeah,
but also as Jen said, and when things are starting to stretch out too much, throw them in the dryer. There's one of those things. There's almost nothing quite as satisfying as when you have a sweater that's gotten a little bit too loose. After you dry it, it's like having a new garment.
Yeah,
it literally is like it's almost like you just got a new thing magically just by drying it. So,
and I'll tell you, for color work, I really love using non-superwash yarns. Do I also do color work with superwash? Of course.
Yeah.
Snedronigen. My Snedronigen is one of my favorite, and that's all superwash.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's really nice also to be able to steek something, and I find steeking with non-superwash is great. And also, it kind of, when you're doing color work or cables or something like that, with non-superwash wool, it kind of stays where you put it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't slide around.
Yeah, it doesn't slide around. It's not messing around. It's not going to, when
even
you drop a stitch, it stays put.
Even like the Pasquale hats that I just made, that's non-superwash. That's, it just kind of clings naturally, which makes the color work really go faster.
Right.
I feel like.
And then there's also, what do you think about acrylic? Acrylic.
I love it.
Totally has its
place.
place.
Can be great.
Yeah.
It can be terrible. Or it can be awesome. And this is the thing. If you're thinking of, and I won't name a brand, that kind of scrubby, itchy acrylic where you're like, I could literally wash dishes with this.
Yeah.
And that feel of it's crunchy, old.
It feels like plastic.
It feels like plastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it is plastic.
Right.
But there's nothing necessarily wrong. A good acrylic is fantastic for
That's what
hard use.
I make my baby blankets in.
Yeah.
Right? For Teddy, for Catherine's baby.
Mm-hmm.
They get acrylic because it's going to be puked on and you can wash and dry it.
Yeah.
And it's going to look pristine. But that also is because King Cole makes exceptional acrylic yarn.
Yeah, the best quality. I mean, we've carried them from the beginning, and the reason we continue to carry them is that they continue to be excellent.
Yeah, excellent quality.
I don't think we've found anything else that's really close. I mean, we haven't looked because they've been but no one's presented us with something that is.
No, and I do have old blankets that I made in acrylic yarn from big box stores long ago that are quite pilly and fuzzed up, and it really does make a difference. Their wool comes in all different grades.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And
so does acrylic. Exactly. One that something that is a big box acrylic yarn that obviously we don't carry, but that I was happy with is remember my Sherlock blanket that I showed as one. That is all done in Karen Simply Soft.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like that's a nice acrylic. It's very slippery. It's almost like a superwash.
It is, and that's the thing. Like different acrylics can have different hands, just like different wool or wool blends or alpaca blend have different hands. So you have one that's like crispy, crunchy, and like icky. You have one that is super slippery but very soft. You have like King Cole, which actually is more.
It's kind of in the middle, and
it's like in the It's
not slippery, but it's also not crunchy.
But it's soft,
lovely,
and drapey.
Yep.
And it wears really well, and like different yarns have different qualities, and like what I would use acrylic for. I don't love wearing acrylic sweaters because I run hot and I get sweaty.
They're very warm.
But I get sweaty in like ready to wear like man-made fibers also, right? So like that's why I prefer wool.
Right.
But like my mom can't wear wool. So she wears cotton and she wears acrylic, and there's nothing. She can tolerate alpaca, but she runs hot.
Yeah, so like
so you just gotta decide. There's absolutely nothing wrong with any type of fiber. If you want to minimize your eco imprint, I would avoid probably your acrylics and polyesters because
they're plastic.
They're plastic, and that's the way it goes.
If you really want to most minimize your eco imprint, I would go for North American non-superwash wool.
Yes.
Right? Because a lot of the overseas fibers are coming from merino. Most of it comes from Australia.
There is
literally it's just the shipping. It's
to the mill,
effect of the
to
shipping.
the dyer,
exactly,
to the store.
Yeah, there's a lot of shipping that goes on with,
and the effect of that environmentally is really significant.
It is significant, and then of course the superwash process and just like the distance that the fiber travels from the farm to the mill to the dyer, right? Like to us,
the more you minimize that, the best.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
But also, I mean, let's be real, the biggest ecological imprint comes from enormous corporations, and our individual things are awesome and great, but we know who's the biggest problem.
That's true. Yeah.
So vote.
Yeah.
Don't forget to vote. November's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, like, this is the thing. All fibers have pros. All fibers have cons. We can tell you what the pros and cons are, but you have to decide whether, what's your preference?
And also,
what do you want?
What is your preference for a project?
Yeah.
Because that should change.
A choice for a baby blanket,
depending on where that project is eventually going to live, who's going to use it, how they're going to use it.
I have had a lot of, and this is just another, because we do talk to a lot of customers who are planning projects. I've had a lot of customers who want to have, say, white baby blankets, and they're thinking cotton. I always recommend no white cotton for babies, because spit up, whether it's breast milk or formula, is yellowing on cotton.
It's acrylic.
Acrylic will stay white. Cotton will be yellow. If you've ever had baby onesies, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
they are yellow. And it's heartbreaking to have like your
precious treasure
that's now yellow. Wool is
would
better.
do wool.
Wool is
I would
fine.
do wool.
Yeah.
Wool often resists stains.
Yeah, it does. Obviously I made stuff like with the colorwork yoke for Teddy, and it's fine because wool washes out. It's like a self-cleaning fiber too, and all that kind of stuff. But
it definitely resists.
Not cotton white.
Don't do cotton.
So.
And you can wash it on hot, but don't do cotton. Do acrylic, do wool. Do superwash, whatever. Right. We should go to our new in store because this actually leads from that fiber conversation into our newest yarn.
And we did talk a little bit about it with La Bandana. So as we said,
Kathleen's been playing with all of our new yarn.
I really have. We are now carrying Helix and Felix. And
love it.
We have a total of 18 colors between the two bases. I think Amanda's got all of our Felix over there, the real brights, because that uses the whiter base.
This Felix is 75% Falkland Merino and 25% Corriedale. Ta-da! White sheep. So the colors are brighter, right?
And the Helix is 75% Falkland Merino and 25% Gotland, which is a naturally gray So you get these beautiful, naturally heathery
Yes.
colors.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is technically a lace weight yarn. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
No.
Don't
In
be
a
scared.
lot of patterns, it's used doubled, which is what I'm
Yes.
doing in the bandana.
And you have a bajillion yards in this. This is 710 yards
Yeah.
per skein. So if you want to talk about bang for your buck,
Mm-hmm.
a skein of this held double is still more than a lot of sport weight yarns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
held double, it's a sport weight or a fingering, depending. This is like the Corey worsted and the Wensley worsted. This is kind of like, what do they call it? Like the baby sister
The little
of
sister.
those.
Yeah.
It's a gauge shifter, right? So it's not superwash. It can squish down. It can poof up.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it in so many different things. You can hold it along with something.
Yeah,
to
hold it
bulk
along
it
with another
up.
color of itself or some mohair.
Or some
Something.
mohair. Oh, so many
Yeah.
beautiful things. We have an entire bundle
Yes, I saw that.
patterns because I was like, for the newsletter, I was like, I need some suggestions for this. So I did some research, which was super fun.
Mhm.
Again, like 100 tabs open. We have a bundle of a lot of suggested patterns for the helix and the felix. And like these colors are like just, I actually really love these two together.
Yeah, that's really
I
pretty.
love that together. That's so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many different options for this. I think it's just like, it's lovely. And I'm like, I'm sitting here like squishing, squishing
So-
all the babies.
And it's funny because like I just came back from Europe. I do have goodies from Europe. I don't have them
Yes.
from France, from Knit Eat. I don't have them to show on this podcast today, but stay tuned because there's going to be a special episode
Yes, we can't wait to see
Yes.
it.
coming out next week. And then also we're going to have a little yarn and wine tasting pairing. So wine tasting and yarn shopping.
There you
So
go.
if you're
Pairing
local,
the shopping with the tasting.
Friday,
The 13th.
October
the 13th.
Yep.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13.
This is a super limited
Yeah.
quantity of yarns.
It's what
but,
I could fit in the
In one
other side of my
suitcase.
suitcase.
but there are yarns that you can't get here.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
you can't get them. So, like, these are... We had a show and tell, and we're all like, ooh.
They're really fun.
ooh.
And they're diverse. So I got 3 different makers. You'll see them all in the special episode. And then, like I said, on our calendar, right, we'll have like a sign up.
Mhm.
It's not going to be a ticketed event, but we'll have a sign up.
Come hang out.
And I think I have like somewhere between 120 and 150 skeins of different things that all show off the trends from France, from overseas,
From Europe.
which are very exciting. There's a lot of mohair.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of lighter weight yarns.
Yes.
I brought home some DK as well. But it was so funny because, like, talking to the makers, they're like, nobody here buys DK because
Like DK is too heavy for them.
it's
Right.
too heavy, and they're like, it's so expensive. Like, why would you spend your money getting hand dyed DK when you could get hand dyed lace weight or fingering? Because it goes so much further.
Your yardage.
I know. That's what their
It's true.
philosophy is.
Your
And I'm like,
yardage.
oh, you're not in America because that's not our philosophy.
That's
here.
not how...
We like the
We were-
big merino.
Make it fast. Make it fast.
But
Yeah.
the event
It's just
is
different. It's
seven-
cool.
starts at 7:30. So for your best selection,
Yeah, it starts at 7:30. It's only an hour
yes.
because I'm at a dance competition all day long. I might still have a full face of makeup.
Ooh. Amanda will be very
You might do
glad
a little,
French.
a little dance exhibition for us.
No.
And a wine tasting. So
Yes.
you're not getting rocked.
No. But the it's one of the firms is farms. Ferm.
They're them.
La Ferme.
La Ferme.
One of the farms is from Beaujolais, and so that gave me the idea of like,
Mhm.
let's taste a little one. Let's
Look
look at the yarn, right?
How
And
fun.
yeah, that'll be fun to see that.
Yeah,
That'll
that'll be great.
be a good.
That'll be super fun. And you can
good
also check
social
out
night.
our Helix Felix at the same time because, hey, that's French.
Yeah. Oh, and Amy was there.
Oh, yes. And you saw Amy bury the lead.
Yes. Amy and Jillian, they were both there, and so that will be in the special episode as well.
Yeah,
Cool.
so stay tuned for
Nice.
that.
So, yeah.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Don't forget to...
we're not done.
We're not
We're
done.
not done.
Oh, my gosh.
This may be our longest episode ever.
That's okay.
Oh, my God. It's so long.
All right, so we talked about Helix and Felix.
Do you want to do? Well, we have to do our question.
We have to do our question.
Stay tuned for the question.
Pasquale is the other thing, which I showed you earlier as I was using that.
This is. Oh wait, no.
Yeah, why don't you read the fiber composition?
I will read the fiber composition. It is Tibetan wool and yak.
And it is
it is
crazy soft.
70% wool, merino, organic, ultra fine, and then 30% yak. Which let me tell you, these
are such classic colors.
Delicious.
Yeah,
I love this green.
And look at this blue.
Oh,
isn't that beautiful?
Such a pretty blue. And you know, I don't love a medium blue.
This
nice color. This would be nice color.
Just this green and that one.
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
Nice.
So this is super soft.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And warm, because the yak is very warm.
So Pasquale is a new line for us.
Yeah.
They're not a new line in the world.
No.
They've been around for a long time, but we fell in love with some of their lines, so this is the first one that you'll see. Yeah, we've got one more coming this fall.
Mm-hmm. We do.
But they're sort of luxury, right?
Yes.
Definitely, yeah. Sure. So this is 70% wool, 30% yak. Somebody might have said that right.
Yes.
It is hand wash.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This will help.
And obviously do not dry.
Do not dry.
Yes, so nice for color work. So, like, if you want to make a really nice holiday gift for someone, this is such a
cowl in this, like a color work cowl in this would be beautiful, because then you could just do, like, you know, a couple of colors, just like that. And you used, what, for one hat you used 3 colors, one skein each, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I had leftovers also. Like, they weren't even full skeins. And except for the last inch, I had enough.
So if you did like a colorwork or a striped hat, like say you wanted to do these 4, I bet you could get like, what, 3 hats? 3, maybe 4?
Yeah, probably. You could, you know, even though, did I just say the yardage? I probably did.
I'm like, I didn't look for the yardage.
137. Yeah. So if you got 4 balls, you definitely could make 3 hats.
Yeah,
it's like
for sure.
you're not, it's not quite 1 per ball, but very close.
Mitts. Can you imagine mitts?
Yeah, mitts would be lovely. Yeah.
This might be the teacher gift mitts.
Oh,
yes.
Right?
Very
that would be beautiful. Like, and like you said, the classic colors.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is I'm excited for this brand.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's
really great.
It's up on our, what I call our donut wall with the mohairs, with the some of the other luxury fibers.
But definitely, you got to come in and feel this, because it looks like a classic yarn, right? Like, it's beautiful. It's like a 2-ply, but then you feel it and you're just like,
oh, what's the price point?
Squishy.
They're 23.
23.
Mm-hmm. So that's great.
Not
that's
crazy.
why I love, like,
Not
you
crazy.
can get a amazing fiber like yak.
Yeah.
And a 50-gram ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not, like, crazy. And you're right. You can get a pair of mitts.
Right. And then honestly, like, to harvest the yak, you got to comb that. So that's a big one. That's a big one. Well,
and don't they collect it off of the shrubs and things
so
too?
It's like it's hand plucked. So it's like invested. It's great.
Mm-hmm. So we finally have to do our question for our next drawing. So
our question for our next one.
So should our prize be a skein of a ball of Pasquale?
Yes,
why
absolutely.
not? Right? Okay.
Ball of Pasquale in the color of your choice.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we think our question should be?
So Amanda had a great suggestion before we started, which was,
yes, that's right.
Have you scheduled your mammogram yet, or if you are a person who is
You're
in the category for mammograms,
or not applicable to you,
or not applicable,
and if not, have you reminded a loved one that it is a good time for them to do it?
Yes, because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this is absolutely, like, I think the most important screening technique around, as unpleasant as it may be. It is important.
It's
very
not.
important.
I got my first mammogram this summer. I had y'all don't fuss at me. I had my first physical in like 20 years this summer.
But also, you've had so many children. You've had medical care. It's not like you're
medical care a lot, because I've had 7 babies. So you know,
so
like
it's not like you weren't going to the doctor.
Physical is
you're getting all your blood work done.
But yeah, they tend to do. I think most of the stuff that they do in a physical is
height, weight, whatever.
All of that stuff.
You get checked a lot.
Yes.
So, like, if something's wrong with you, they're gonna tell you.
It'll come up. Hopefully.
But anyway, so I had and then of course they're like, okay, now you need to schedule all these things. And the practice that I go to, everything is in the same building. So it's
That's
not
nice.
like, and they're
That's really
all
nice.
have the same computer system, right? So, you know, when you leave your physician, it's not like you have to schedule separate lab work or separate mammogram or separate whatever.
They can
Oh,
access
skin, I got my dermatologist thing done
Oh,
too.
nice.
Right? They just like start bugging you until you schedule it. So that was
That's
good.
good.
And
That's
I went
good.
for my first one, I have to say, because y'all talk about it like it's so terrible. I went. I was like, okay, and maybe it's because I've had 7 breastfeeding babies, but it's almost as thrilling as having a new breastfeeding baby, which is not fun.
They don't learn easy.
No,
those
they
babies.
don't.
No.
Right? There's a lot of squishing and pulling and whatever, but boobs do it.
But and the other
They
thing
do
I
it.
always think is like it's painful. It is for such a short time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
30
so
seconds.
worth it. It's
Well,
If
it's
you're
more than
lucky.
30 seconds. Like,
Depends on
stand
how
there.
fast you go.
It's like
Depends
weird.
on your technician.
Yeah, okay.
I know. But, like, absolutely make your appointment. Go get it checked. Let us know down in the comments so you can win a skein
Yes.
of
of
Pasquale.
Pasquale.
And if you have opinion questions, continue to use
Hashtag
#opinion.
opinion.
We're going to do at least one per episode, probably 2 like we did this time. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how we go,
Yeah,
because
we
otherwise we're going to
haven't-
end up with, like, 4-hour episodes.
Yeah, really. And you know,
We love you, but you don't love us.
yeah.
Maybe you do.
So thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you for
and,
watching, guys.
We will see you all soon.
Yeah,
Don't
maybe
forget
a
to
Rhinebeck.
comment. And follow us online, Shop Yarnia on Instagram, Facebook, website, all that fun stuff. And we will see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.